Powwow, man. Happy to have you on the platform, my guy.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes, indeed, man. We got a lot to tap into, man. Before we get into everything, man, what you got popping right now, yo? What you got going on, man? Let the people know.
Well, I just dropped an album a few weeks ago with DJ Fresh called The Tonight Show. So we've been going hard promoting that. We actually shot a video for every song on there. On my YouTube, you can go on there, it's Get Money TV. But wherever you look at videos, they there. We got videos for every song on the album. So we've been going hard, just working hard and on the road touring. So we've been touring like crazy too, just getting it in, grinding. Back in the lab, working already. We got a few other projects in the works, that I've been working on that'll come out later on this year, and some that'll come out next year. But just been doing what I love to do, man, and that's make music, perform music, and be around other music makers. You know what I'm saying? The music lovers.
Yes, indeed. Got to keep coming out with the music, man. Got to feed the fan base, man. They got to be the number one priority right there, man. But I want to ask you, speaking of music, Drive Slow, your verse on that, man, legendary. How did that record come about?
Man, it was the universe pulling us together. First, how I met Kanye West was an incredible moment. You know what I'm saying? There'd been a little backstory to that as well, because he had been working with Mike Jones in the studio. Although the music they were working on never came out and never saw the light of day, me and Mike Jones, we shared the same manager, T. Ferris. So, I was kind of always, up to whatever was going on with Mike Jones in the studio with Kanye West. And I'm like, damn, man, why he don't do this? Mike Jones is very particular when he makes his music, like what he wants to do. He wants this kind of beat, that kind of beat, whatever. I don't know. I wasn't there, but all I know is the music never came out, and I'm a fan, so I wanted the music to come out. Anyway, down the line, when I finally do meet Kanye West at a King magazine, I don't know if you remember King magazine, but they had
I remember that. Had the females on the cover and shit.
Yep. But they had the top 20 kings of the year or something, or upcoming kings or something like that. So they had like an upcoming author, an upcoming basketball player, an upcoming, stock trader, an upcoming, record CEO, which was Kanye West for good music. He was the upcoming king, or he just arrived as a king kind of. I was there as, I guess, an entrepreneur, being a grill salesman, making grills. But when Kanye West walked into the meeting, we had like a lounge or something, and it's like some music, hip hop music, but it's real low. Everybody talking, an industry event, this very industry. And then, Kanye West walk in, with the aura of yay, so of course he attract all the energy and, attention from everybody in the room. And he like, man, what kind of industry event is this? You know what I'm saying? I don't hear no freestyle cypher going on. Ain't no breakdown. Ain't what this supposed to be hip hop. Where's the hip hop? It's more than just hip hop. Is more than just pushing play on music. Where's the hip hop? So he's just like, man, come on. He just busts out of nowhere and just do a freestyle. And then everybody just kind of looking at him. He's like, man, what's up? Ain't nobody. I'm trying to get a cypher going. So as soon as he said that, I jumped right in and kicked off a freestyle of my own. I'm from Houston, so you gonna call me, especially when I'm young like that and hungry, I'm ready. You ain't gonna call out my freestyle skills. I'm gonna represent for the whole state of Texas on this freestyle right here. So I came, do my thing. From there, it was kind of a couple people might freestyle, but really, I think I might have, me and Kanye we just, kicked it off a little bit. And of course, he knew I made grills, and I was talking to him, man, what's up, man? Why don't you get a grill? You want a grill? What's up? And he was like, you know what? I actually do want a grill. And I say, I got the grill mold kit right here in my bag. We can go do it. Let's step out of here. Let's go do it. Get your grill mold real quick and get it going. Went downstairs in the van. I was actually on the way to the airport. I did his grill molds right there. Then went back home. Me and Johnny started working on them. Then he was in town a couple weeks later for the last Capitol Beach party of all time, a historic era, the end of an era. The Capitol Beach party was an event that we had in Galveston, which is, like 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, depending on how you drive or how bad traffic is. You used to go down in Galveston. Shout out to Galveston. But the Capitol Beach party was, this was the last one. This is when I think they changed the name to the Texas Beach Party or this or that, just because, it started off as a fraternity event, but it kind of, became a business event where, the city of Galveston, they charging people to get on the seawall. You got this going on, that going on. It just like it became a big event. It was different, when the Capitals weren't running it like that, it kind of became a different. Anyway, this was the last Capitol Beach party of all time. And, Kanye West was down there to perform with Scarface. So, when he was down there, he also was in there working on music with Mike Dean and at Mike Dean's studio. So me and Johnny, we brought him his Grillz late night one night at Mike Dean house, and he's in there working on music, and he's working on what would become Diamonds Are Forever from Diamonds from Sierra Leone. But Mike Dean is mixing it down. Kanye West is just playing it back to back to back to back to back. Mike Dean on like mix, however long the song is, say it's like 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes. Whatever it is, he's playing the entirety of the song to the last second. He's playing it. He might change. Hey, turn on the hi-hat at the outro. Turn on this. On the second verse. But he's still gonna listen to the whole song front to back. Now, me, after I listen to a song over and over and over and over, it gets a little blurry. I don't know what I'm listening to. But he could tell, especially Mike Dean too. They both could. They were like on point on everything. And I'm like, how can you tell the difference? I heard the song. Me and Johnny heard the song 1,000 times that night. So they heard it. They've been listening to it 1,000 times at least before we got there. So you know what I'm saying? Like, man, come on. But anyway, we gave him his Grillz. We kicked it off. And after that, I got a call from my boy Plain Pat. Plain Pat is an A&R. He worked for Def Jam. He used to manage Kid Cudi for a long time. He signed Kid Cudi, managed Kid Cudi. He was the A&R for Kanye West, for a lot of people, a lot of big top dogs. So he reached out to me early in my career trying to sign me, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out with the record label. But he wanted to sign me, but maybe they didn't, or whatever they was offering, or it was conflict, or whatever, But we always kept in touch. He always gave me good advice. He always kind of mentored me with situations, with people. Hey, I heard you did this. I saw this. Hey, let me get some advice. And I was eager to accept it. But he said, "Hey, man, I'm A&R and Kanye new album. I see y'all met, and you got him some Grillz with Johnny. That's what's up. With your style. Why don't y'all, do a song together? Would you be down?" Of course I'd be down. Now this Kanye West in his early stages, so he wasn't he was still an icon, but he wasn't the top 5 icons or top icon in the world, like he is now, but he still was Kanye West. So me as an opportunity, seeing it like, damn, that's a hell of an opportunity to work with one of the hip hop greats. Also I'm a fan, so I'm not even thinking about the opportunity so much as the fan aspect of, man, I get to do a song with Kanye. And Houston and Chicago always had a strong ties, going back. Jay Prince really laid a lot of foundation in Chicago. There's a strong connection there between Houston and Chicago. So we always got a lot of love. So him being from Chicago, we was fans of all the artists from Chicago, but him being, the top dog, of course. So Plain Pat said, "Hey, I got this beat. I don't know if we're going to use it." He might not even use it. He kind of like it. He's, up in the air, what he's going to do. There's no verses on it, nothing on it. Just do a verse on there, or something. It's called Drive Slow. Honestly, I don't remember if he told me it was called Drive Slow, but I know it was no verse on there. It was just instrumental. I know it was no Kanye verse or no other vocals at all. It was just straight instrumental. So he sent it to me, and I was like, okay, bet. I'm just appreciative for the opportunity, because I know how it is. I can't, rapping on the Swish House mixtapes all the time, not myself. Now, I will say this, there hasn't been a time I rapped on a tape and they took my verse off, but I have witnessed other people come in and do verses that might have been hard, they might have been dope verses, but for whatever reason, they acting funny, they disrespecting the DJ or somebody, they disrespecting Michael Watts out and talking down, whatever, this and that, but then they come over and do a freestyle, think they're gonna get away with it. Now, he's not gonna put you on his mixtape or, whatever reason, but I have seen it. So, I am, I'm knowing in my mind, man, this isn't official until it actually comes out. When it's actually on a CD, on vinyl, then I know it's official. But up until that moment, at any time they could take me off for whatever reason. There's a sample couldn't get cleared. Kanye West don't like me. He think I'm talking about it. Maybe people say slick shit. So what if I go say some slick shit, and then he like, man, well, he said, what? Man, take his ass off of there. You know what I'm saying? That's how I go. So I'm just knowing, of course, I don't say no slick shit like that, but you just never know in hip hop. He was taking people off of Donda left and right. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't want to get taken off of Donda pre-Donda, you know what I'm saying? So that was me. But anyway, he sent me the beat. Plain Pat sent me the beat. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is what I'm telling you. There's so many layers to this story. That's why you're getting a 20-minute answer out of me. Because I had this verse I always knew was somewhat special. Like, man, there's something special about this verse. It goes hard. I'm saying some cold stuff on here. This verse it definitely goes hard. That I always kept in my back pocket that I'm gonna use for a special occasion. I don't know what, but a special occasion. If it's, somebody major, like a major player wants to get me on a song, or, I got 20 minutes before we got to leave to go to the airport, and I either got a verse or I don't. And if I got a verse, I'm on a song. I don't. This situations that happen like this all the time in hip hop, especially when you grinding and you working and you catching flights. You working every minute up until you leave. You squeezing every bit of juice out of that orange you can get. Everything you can get out that toothpaste, you squeezing out. Because when you leave from whatever city, you might not be back for another year sometimes more than that. So you want to make the most of it with all those hip hop type of opportunities. So, I always had this verse. Now the verse came originally, it was the first verse I wrote when I wrote Sitting Sideways. When I wrote Sitting Sideways, my boy T Ferris, he gave me a beat CD, and it was one of the beats on there. And I recorded to it. I did a verse. It was only one verse at first. Originally, when I did Sitting Sideways, it was featuring Big Pokey and Lil Keke. So all I had was one verse. The record label I was signed to, Atlantic Records, they said, hey, wait a minute. We don't care about, the legacy artists that they are, or how they inspired you to rap, or they your favorite artists or rappers, or this your first time ever doing a song with them. We don't really care about that. We care that you are our artist signed to us, and they're not signed to us or signed to any major label. Look, we'll let you put one of them on there, but you can't put both of them on there. I was heartbroken. Look, let me tell you, up until this point, I had been working for years. You know what I'm saying? Me and Chamillionaire dropped Get Your Mind Correct, was an independent album, which is sold, a few hundred thousand copies independently. So we had songs on the radio. They were number one, regional, wherever we were pushing them. We had a hell of a career mixtape wise. So we were rocking sold out shows in cities all over Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and various other places like parts of Florida and Alabama, parts of, Ohio. But so I had a full on underground career where I was killing it on the underground. And the first time I ever get an opportunity to do a song with my two favorite rappers, Lil Keke and Big Pokey, was finally right now. That's just what it took to do a song with people in those days. You couldn't just pay somebody to do a song. Your career had to be vetted. And it's not something where you ask questions. It's like you have to be here for some years. You have to prove to us that you just ain't coming to do this and you gonna leave. You have to be here for years before we do a verse with you. That wasn't for me. That was for everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it took a lot. You couldn't just pay. Now, we did pay them to do this verse. Even though I was as established as I was, I'm a artist now who has a major record deal. This is my debut major album with Atlantic Records. Still Tippin is blowing up right now at this moment. So, in today's day and age, somebody like that would probably do it for free. But in those days and age, it was like, we first of all, we wanted to pay them. We was honored to pay them to do a verse. This is my favorite rapper that inspired me to ever rap, Lil Keke and Big Pokey. So, you know what I'm saying? This was such a momentous occasion. So now I got to take one of them off. Man, heartbroken, talking about heartbroken. But, what do you do? Big Pokey is on the chorus. So I felt like he was, if I'm going to use the chorus and he's going to let me use it, I owe him the opportunity to do a verse too. Because then he's on the verse and the chorus. It's our song together. He can perform it if his song blows up, which I know Atlantic Records is going to put a hell of a bag. They probably put over $1 million behind the song, pushing it. So I know he'll be able to benefit. This is one of my rap heroes, you know what I'm saying? So to be able to do that, and we, even now to look back and see, all the times we was on this show, that show, this night show, or whatever show, this show, all the late night TV shows with Jimmy Kimmel and this person, that person, performing Sitting Sideways with Big Pokey, especially now that he's not here, rest in peace. It was a hell of an opportunity. Man, it's like you talking about living your childhood dreams, you know what I'm saying, on a major scale with your childhood heroes. But man, it hurt me to have to take Lil Keke off. And in my mind, it's like, okay, Lil Keke verse gonna end up being the remix. We'll save it for the remix. And of course, they don't, they're like, yeah, we'll save it for the remix. But they like, whatever, we don't even know, they don't care, they don't know, they just didn't know or care. Also, if either one of those artists would have been signed to a major label, it would have been different because now they in the game. And yeah, you clear this for us, we'll clear this for you. But if they're not signed to nobody, then it's like, look, all they doing is really blowing up the artist to go sign a deal with their competition or to sign a deal with them. And now they gotta, get paid top dollar, so, that's just a perspective of the industry, when you mainstream. I have no qualms again. It did break my heart though, having to take Lil Keke off. So anyway, back in those days when I used to write raps, this was before I was smoking weed. I really wasn't smoking weed a lot back in those days, only on certain occasions. Definitely not when I was rapping. Because if I did smoke weed, I'd be out of there, blitzed, zoned out completely. I couldn't write or freestyle. Some people, when they smoke, they turn up. Nah, that was not me. I shut down back in those days. But back in those days, it's being that I didn't have any type of calming. My mind would run like 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I didn't have anything to calm my mind down. I didn't take no medications and nothing like that. So when I would write, like say right now we're in the studio, this is the studio, you give me a beat to write to, man, I'm not writing to it while the music's playing because the music will distract me from my thoughts because I'm too busy bobbing my head or I can't get my thoughts together, so I would have to just get 1 or 2 lines, get the tempo, get my flow together, my flow pattern together, what I want to sound like, and then from there go somewhere quiet, usually like a closet, a room, a bathroom, go sit in my car. For this I went and sat in my car. I was at Michael Watt's house and I went and sat in my car and I wrote the rap in my car. But like the telephone game, I tell you something, you tell him something, he tell him something, he tell him something, he tells her, she tells him, she tells her. Then by the time it gets around, it's a whole nother message because they're not telling the message exact. That's kind of how the tempo played with my mind. So when I'm laying my verse, it's like, okay, it goes, but it doesn't really go. My verse is like a little too slow or too fast for the beat. This verse I'm speaking of is the drive slow verse that you hear when you hear drive slow. That's the verse I'm talking about. I wrote it to sitting sideways, but it didn't really quite go. And I'll never forget my boy T Ferris saying, hey, look, don't take this the wrong way. He was my coach too. He was 100% Phil Jackson, Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan. That was us. We looked at it like, how I looked at it was, man, you my coach. You tell me to run a play, you tell me to do a drill or do this, whatever you tell me to do, you got a reason for it. It's not my job to question your reason. It's my job to run the play you tell me to run, and I trust you as a coach. T. Ferris had already proven to me on several occasions before, whether it would have been a freestyle, hey, I think you should do a freestyle on this beat. And I'm like, what, that beat? I don't know. And he's like, man, just try it, trust me. I do the freestyle and it blows up. And it might blow up in, a pocket of South Carolina. It might blow up in, Southeast Florida. It might blow up, in somewhere outside of Atlanta. But out of nowhere, we got a huge amount of people like, hey, I love this freestyle. And T. Ferris, like I told you, they love that beat over there. I knew you'd kill it. Or even when Still Tippin', we did Still Tippin'. It was something where none of us liked the beat. None of us rapped to the beat except for me. And I didn't like the beat when I heard it. I'm listening to it on a small boombox, same as, sitting sideways. It was a small boombox CD player where if the bass is too loud, the CD skips. So you got to keep the volume low and the bass all the way off. So you can't really feel the whole, depth of the beat. You know what I'm saying? And even then, I it's just like, you don't hear it like in its entirety. You just hear the beat. I don't know, so none of us like, but T. Ferris sure was right about that Still Tippin' beat, So I always, at this point, I'm like, hey, look, whatever you tell me, I'm running. So don't ask me what I like, because I also, many people don't know this. I got a very niche, taste of what I like. What I like is not what the mainstream likes. So there have been albums I've done where I've done it and it's 100% me. And those usually are the least selling albums, the least, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I learned to trust other people who have, a broader perspective, a better perspective of how to get the best out of me and what other people want to hear when they hear me, which, I'm looking at it from my perspective of how I'm listening and looking at it and making the music. And, I can't tell you what you gonna like or what someone else is gonna like. So I learned to trust other people early on. And I learned, a lot of artists got that ego where they like, yeah, I'm right. Nah, I'm so cool with being wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm usually wrong. So, hey, but I've been blessed to have a great career. So, hey, that just tells me hey, don't ask me. I'm not making the decisions. I'll give my input, but the decision, I'm not the one to make decisions. So anyway, getting back to the story, it's about 30 minutes now. When T. Ferris is like, he comes to me and say, look, man, don't take this the wrong way, but we got to take one person off of sitting sideways. And who do you think? And we both came to the same conclusion, like, man, you know, it's only right. Even though T. Ferris was my favorite, I mean, Lil Keke was my favorite rapper, and he was T. Ferris's favorite rapper as well. And this would have been our first time for either one of us to work with him in any capacity. I met him before, but to work with him, this was our very, very first time. So it's like, damn, this could be our last opportunity as well. Because you ask somebody to do a song and then you take them off, like, people be insulted by that. I understand. I maybe would be too, you know? So, but I mean, Keke, of course, he understood what it was. It just is what it is. You know, I don't think he was insulted by us. He might've been insulted by the record label more than he was by us. Cause we let it be known. We not ashamed or afraid to let him know how much we love and, you know, how much he inspired us, you know? So we let him know that for sure. But T. Ferris say, look, man, you got to do another verse, man. Look, I really think you need to do 2 new verses because the verse is hard. It's a dope verse, but it's something about it. It's just too slow for the beat. The beat's too slow for the verse. Just say the verse and use it for something else later on and just write 2 new verses and have both of the verses match. Instead of just doing a new verse and it might match or it might not, you know, just do 2 new verses. And I was like, man, you crazy, man. This verse hard. And he immediately was like, all right, you know, you the boss, man. Whatever you say, it's your album. So if you don't want to, you don't have to. Yo, it's all good. And I could just see the look in his eye of Phil Jackson telling Scottie Pippen get in the game, and Scottie Pippen on the bench like, I ain't going in the game. Nope, I ain't. Why you got me here if you ain't gonna give me the ball? Nah, I ain't going in the game. And I said, man, I can't be that. I can't be Scottie Pippen in that situation, man. So you know, I said, well, all right, man. You know what? I'm gonna try it. He said, man, just try it. If it don't work, we ain't got to use it, but just try it. And I said, man, you know what, you're right. And that always stuck with me. Anytime I think something's not going to work, why not just try it? If it's not going to cost me, what did it cost me to write the verse? It took me, you know, because I already was going to write another verse. So I wrote a verse to write, you know, did it take me another hour? You know what I'm saying? So an hour out of my life worth of trying is definitely worth it. When you talking about this the man that won me 6 rings, you know what I'm saying? And you telling me to run something, I ain't gotta question what you tell me. You tell me to run it, I'm running it, and I'll ask you about it later later on. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna write 2 verses. Wrote 2 new verses, and he was right. You know, the 2 new verses did go with it better, and they were. If you listen to verse 1 and verse 2, my 2 verses on Sitting Sideways, they do match as well. They match each other. They got the same flow patterns and stuff. I just changed it around. And, you know, and I said, okay, I got this verse. I'm going to save it for something. And this was the first opportunity where I thought to maybe use this verse I've been saving. When Kanye asked me to do the verse, Plain Pat asked me to do the song. This is, you know, the first time I thought about it, but it also was like, okay, is this it? If it ain't this, well, what could it be? Do it go? And I laid it in my studio and it went to the beat. And my boy Pretty Todd recorded me, and I'll never forget, you know, just, you know, thinking like, sending it off like, man, is he gonna like it? You know, is this all just a play to gas me up and punk me? This is when MTV Punk was going on too. So, you know, I didn't know, is it real? Is this a long-term play? And 6 months from now, they're gonna film my Punk'd episode? You know what I'm saying? Because that's how they would do the Punk'd episodes. It's like they would plant these seeds, and then later on, way later, when you're least expecting it, boom, you embarrassed. You know, and it's like, damn, is this what it's gonna be? I'm Punk. I don't got no gang with. So I never thought it was really real. You know, even when we send it off, you know, what's it gonna happen? And Plain Pat hit me back, said, hey, Kanye like your verse, but he wants you to come out here and lay it here, wherever he's recording at, which was LA at the time. He was like, man, come out here and lay your verse out here. He wants you to do some other things, maybe do like a chorus or a bridge or say this, say that. You know, if you down to, and I was like, hell yeah, of course I'm down to. That's gonna be the difference in me getting on the album or not. Then you know what I'm saying, or if that's the next step. Also, you know what I'm saying. I'm of course, you know, I was in LA all the time, still am. So you know, it's like, okay, this is of course I'll go to. I think we did it like the Record Plant, one of these like historic, you know, Studios, where this was my one and only time ever being there, was recording with Kanye West. So, you know, like, hell yeah, I'm gonna take that opportunity to soak in the room, all the greats who've been here and walked here, and all the greats who've been sat behind the board and adjusted, and who made the final decision to turn the hi-hat and the snare down, you know, the unsung heroes that never get, you know what I'm saying, they don't get the spotlight, but you're there amongst those type of people working with them. Like, it was a blessing. But even then, the story continues, man. He said, come record with us here, lay it here in LA. Me and my boy Goo, we fly out to LA. We get off the plane. We're going down the escalator to baggage claim. As soon as we hit that baggage claim, two guys in suits, one, hey, one get me, one get him. Hey, you go here, you go here. And they interviewing us, and we're like, what the hell going on? Showing us their badges, they sheriff, detectives, or some shit. I don't know what they was looking for, but I immediately thought, oh, I'm getting punked. This is the whole Kanye song. I'm getting punked. I also keep in mind, Mike Jones had shortly earlier been punked on MTV, on the show MTV Punked.
Yeah, I remember that episode.
So when you get punked, you know, you tag your it. Now you got to tag somebody else. So I just was waiting. Like, I was on edge. Like, boy, if they ever punk me, I'm crashing out, because I'm not embarrassed. You're not going to embarrass me. I'll never be able to go back to my hood again. They were like, man, you embarrassed us on MTV? You know, whatever. So I just was ready for whatever. If they give me a hard time at the airport, you know, some of it I'm embarrassed to say, because it probably came off as being like an egomaniac, or having, like, you know, just having an attitude with people, treating people wrong. But I thought I was being punked in a few occasions, you know what I'm saying? Until finally I started letting it go, because I realized, like, man, I'm kind of tripping right now. I just cussed this lady out at the airport for no reason when I thought she was punking me. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we come down the escalator, and one of the cops gets Goo, one of the cops gets me. I think I'm getting punked. So I'm handling him raw, talking to him crazy, talking to him in a way I would never speak to an officer of the law, because I know what they're capable of. I don't want to get, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to get handled the way I know they're capable of handling people, even if it's locking me up for the weekend to have a bad weekend for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But I know we know they're capable of worse than that. So I'm like, man. But anyway, I'm just handling them a certain way, because I'm thinking they actors. I'm thinking I'm getting punked, you know. And the officer is starting to get irritated, agitated. He's getting mad, and we're in public. We're in the airport baggage claim. So he's getting really upset. And the other officer who was with my boy Goo is like, hey, calm down. Hey, what's going on? And I'm like, nah, man, this clown isn't that. I'm talking the raw to him. I wasn't like cussing, using cuss words, but I was cussing him the hell out. You know what I'm saying? If you catch my drift. And I really was, yeah. My boy Goo was looking at me like, what the hell are you doing? You crazy. And I said, man, nah, don't worry about it, man. Ashton Kutcher about to pop out. We getting punked, man. Don't worry about it. He's like, man, we ain't getting punked. And the other officer came and grabbed him, was like, man, let's go. They ain't got nothing. They don't got nothing. Because they wanted to search our bags or something. And I was like, man, you ain't searching my bags. But then I finally was like, man, I ain't got shit. Fine, search my bag. And I was about to go off on them, searching my bag even more. Anyway, they left out of nowhere. And I'm like, where Ashton Kutcher at? And my boy Goo is like, you dumbass, ain't no Ashton Kutcher. We about to get our ass kicked by the LA Sheriff's Department. LA Sheriff's Department. We ain't just talking about just a mall cop or, you know, a city cop or this cop. Man, any of the which is capable of, you know what I'm saying, using their authority to whoop my ass. But we talking about the LA Sheriff's Department. They done did that before. I ain't trying to be the next one on the list. So I'm like, damn, man, ain't no Ashton Kutcher. Damn, it was for real. So I'm kind of shocked by it. Then, okay, Goo goes to the hotel. Then I'm in a car going to the studio, like a car service. It was like a Lincoln Town car service. And, the driver, this is before there was, GPS screens and cameras on your map. You had a map question printed out. You know what I'm saying? But he would, he's looking like, man, where I go? Is it, I know it's up here. Is it on the right or the left? And I don't know. I ain't never been to the studio before. I don't know. So he's right there, but he just don't know, is it this big ass studio on the left or the big ass studio on the right? Because, we wherever there's like tons of studios. So we in the left-hand turning lane, and it's like maybe 4 or 5 lanes. We in the left-hand lane. He say, oh, it's over there on the right, where the red light stopped red, all the cars red. He break them off. This is what break them off mean. He break them off. He turn right and break off the whole line of traffic and turn right, to get to the studio. It just so happened it was a cop car, the last lane over that he didn't see, and whoop, whoop, we get pulled over right there. And I'm like, damn, I knew we was getting punked. They just didn't get me the first time at the airport because I handled it too different. Now they trying to throw me off to get me, pump me again. Cause I look, at no point did I ever really think that this is real, like me doing a song. Man, I come from doing mixtapes and freestyles where you rapping on other people's songs and making them your own. So I ain't think this is, from Houston. Nobody else from Houston had a song with Kanye West except Scarface. But that's different. Scarface is Jay-Z to us. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? He the GOAT. So Jay-Z got songs with anybody. If Jay-Z got a song with, U2 or like the Beatles, I wouldn't be surprised because you talking about a GOAT. You know what I'm saying? You talking about this is as elite as it gets. So it's like, ain't nobody from the freestyle era, my freestyle generation, none of us got no song with Kanye West. So I'm like, man, this ain't gonna happen. Anyway, the cop pull us over and I'm like, okay. I first of all, also the way I handled the cop, I didn't know if I got a red dot on my back, a target on my back, from the police. After I just say, hey, look, I apologize. If you're watching this, I definitely apologize to whoever those officers were. I thought I was getting punked. I thought you was actors. And, I did not want to be embarrassed on MTV. But man, I thought I was getting pulled over. So I'm like trying to get the hell up out of this car, and I'm like, hey, officer, can I get out? He's like, yeah, you can get out of here. You ain't the one driving. He the one getting a ticket. And I'm like, damn, where Ashton Kutcher? And then I go in the building and Nas is downstairs laying his verse for the album. I'm upstairs laying my verse for the album. It's a lot going on. I'm still like, where Ashton Kutcher at? And they like, what are you talking about? Well, you keep asking where Ashton Kutcher at? What are you talking about? And I'm like, man, y'all ain't fucking me. I'm trying to tell them what happened. And they think I'm crazy because, I think they're in on it. So I'm not telling them like the full story. I'm like, man, where Ashton Kutcher? But anyway, yeah, then now you have it. Then that's how we recorded and got Drive Slow. And then on top of that, man, Kanye West let me put Drive Slow on my album as well. That's something that don't happen in hip hop. It don't happen in music, but it really don't happen in hip hop where, you're a elite A-list rapper or musician, and there's an up and coming artist that wants to put the song that you put on your album, they want to put on their album too. They don't really do that. So I don't know how Craig Calvin, I don't know how they pull that off, but man, thank you, Julie Greenwald, Lil Cohen, all them, whoever did whatever to allow me to have a song Kanye West that's on his album and it's on my album. Woo-wee. But let me tell you, I still didn't think it was real. I'll never forget when I got a call out of nowhere from DJ Drama. And he said, hey, you on Kanye West's album? Now, I also learned a lesson early on. When you do songs with people like that, you don't just go tell the whole world. Because sometimes they don't want everybody to know. They want it to be a surprise or a secret or, just whatever. And it turns into something that they didn't intend it to be. So you don't say, like, if I go do a song with Beyonce, I just did a song with Beyonce, because by the time our album come out, I might be off the song. You know what I'm saying? So this is the rap Beyonce. We talking about the GOAT here. We talking about Kanye West. So I'm like, man, I don't know if he gonna take me off. So I ain't just telling everybody. Also, I don't want to look like a fool. He take me off and I ain't on it. I thought you was on it. Now he took me off. And hey, Kanye, why you took him off? And he said, oh, because it was whack. But whether it was whack or not, they gonna be thinking it's whack. So man, like, damn, I ain't say nothing until it came out. I never forget though, I got the call from DJ Drama and he said, hey man, you want Kanye West album? And I said, I don't know. It ain't out yet. It ain't real till you see your name in the credits. And I ain't see no album cover with my name in the credits. I don't know. And he said, no, I'm looking at the CD cover right now. We're at the official listening party. All the DJs, this is everybody first time hearing it. And everybody's going crazy. You got, oh man, you on there, you went off. You got a crazy verse on there, this and that. Of course, man, it's still it hit me sometimes because it's like, damn, man, I remember that moment when DJ Drama called me and said, man, you on there. That's when I knew it was for real because it was the night before the album came out. So it was like, they ain't taking me off now. They ain't sending all them copies back to get repressed and rechanged up. It ain't like it is now. You take somebody off Donda, that's a change the upload. You replace the upload. That takes seconds. You know what I'm saying? This was back in this was official. So, man, that opportunity for me, man, it changed my life. Cause also, how we were looked at being freestyle rappers. It's like there was a stigma to us. Oh, they could freestyle, but that's it. It's kind of like how there's a stigma sometimes against all kind of rappers, whatever style it is. If you make, love rap, like, Tiger. Oh, all you can make is love rap. You know, Tiger make all kind of music. Those are the love rap he makes is just the ones that are hits. You know what I'm saying? Or for the most part, he got other ones. There's not love rap, but I'm just using that as an example. Or battle rappers. If you make battle rap, then it's you can only battle rap. You can't make a hit. You can't make songs. You know, it's just a stigma. Whatever style of hip hop of the branch of the tree you on, people they limit you to that branch and they think that's the only kind of fruit you can make. But the hip hop tree roots run deep. So for us it was a big stigma. You know, we freestyle rappers. You know, we screwed up rappers. They can't do this. They can't keep up with this person, that person. So it put me on a level too where people and they were listening to Kanye West. There was a little crossover. Some people were listening to me, but he was elite. I'm up and coming underground. It was night and day difference. So, now you got people who look at him and everything he does as elite. And now I'm up there keeping up. We racing, we running plays, and I'm at least keeping up with them, for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So they like, damn, I ain't no power. I had it in them like that. And if that song would have only been on my album and not his album, a lot of them people would have never heard it, and I would have never got that opportunity to show my skills. And if T. Ferris would have never told me, man, this rap don't go with this verse, with this beat, the tempo, then I would have never, had it. So, when things happen like this that seem like a stumbling block or a pothole or something, I use it as a lesson to, man, how can I grow from this in the future when something don't necessarily go my way? We running traffic on the freeway. That don't mean anything. That could mean maybe God is preventing me from getting in an accident down the road, or maybe if I would have got to the interview 10 minutes earlier, somebody could have been here, that maybe I don't get along with. I mean, I get along with everybody. I'm just using that, making up examples of, God, the universe will, make things happen for you, even when you don't know how or why or when or what, and I just put my best foot forward and let the universe do its thing.
How you feel about the people that say you had the best verse on Drive Slow?
I definitely appreciate that, but I gotta give it to Kanye because I don't want to take me off. But nah, I mean, GLC had a hard verse too. Of course, Kanye had a hard verse. We all had somewhat different verses. GLC had an ism on his verse, you know what I'm saying? Kanye West, of course, he was giving real game on, slow down, don't live life too fast. I did my thing with the flow with the cars of, like literally drive slow with the cars. So we all had a somewhat different perspective on driving slow, and doing our thing. There's been a few times where I think I had the best verse and other people don't think I had the best verse. And then there's times where people think I got the best verse and I'm like, you like that verse? I don't even really like that verse. So, it just is what it is. I appreciate when people say I got the best verse or the hardest verse on there. But I don't never like stick my chest out too much, you know what I'm saying? Cause even me, that wasn't me. It wasn't my choice. It was my choice to do that verse on Sitting Sideways. You know what I'm saying? And if I would have did it on Sitting Sideways, you might have been like, I mean, you saying some shit, but it don't sound right. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, thank you for whoever think I did my thing on there. Big ups. Thank you.
Speaking of still tipping, a Houston classic, man. How did that record come about?
For sure, all my songs that are like smash hits like that, they all have very, very memorable experiences that I remember it the same way I remember, a scene from, Goodfellas or The Godfather or something, you know what I'm saying? Scarface. I remember these scenes so vividly of how they happened, so Still Tipping. Well, at the time, Michael 5000 Watts was working on a compilation album at the time called The Day Hell Broke Loose. He used to put out a series of The Day Hell Broke Loose. So this was going to be The Day Hell Broke Loose Part 2. The Day Hell Broke Loose Part 2. And he was working on it with a producer. A single producer was going to produce the whole album. His name was Big Time. And Big Time had did a lot of work for a lot of other Houston artists. Did work for others, for the Switch House for us in the past. I don't know if he did anything for me personally when I say us, but I just mean he was a well-known producer. He was a dope producer. So anyway, him and Michael Watts worked it out. Well, look, I'm gonna produce all the beats, and and you get the verses from the artists, and that's how it happened. And eventually, in there, they, for whatever reason, went their separate ways. And the agreement they made was, all right, well, you take the beats since you made the beats, and I'm going to take the vocals since I got the vocals. And that's what they did. Okay, well, there was one song on there which was Still Tippin'. I like to refer to it as like the rough draft of Still Tippin' because it wasn't officially out like as a single, or it wasn't out on the album or something like that. It was being serviced to maybe DJs or something here and there, but it wasn't really official. It wasn't out yet. It was just something where you got a CD and it's a blank CD with a sticker on it. Hey, this is my new single. We trying to get played, something like that. One of them type of situations. So I like to refer to it as the rough draft of Still Tippin'. Respectfully, I don't mean no disrespect by that, and it had the beat from Big Time, with a verse from Mike Jones, a verse from Slim Thug, and a verse from Chamillionaire. Now, Mike Jones and Slim Thug verse is the same verse you hear today. But a lot of people don't realize this when you say Still Tippin', what the world thinks is the one that I'm on. That's the one that everybody thinks. So when you hear that version of Still Tippin', you actually hear the tempo was slower than what I call a rough draft. So Michael Watts had to slow down Mike Jones and Slim Thug's vocals to match the do 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 tempo of doom 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 do 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 doom doom doom. So their voices are like slightly a little deeper. When you hear the other version with the Big Time beat, you hear Slim Thug rapping, it sounds sped up. It don't even sound like Slim Thug. It sounds like Slim Thug when he was like 17. Like when Slim Thug was 17, he had a different type of tone to his voice. He rapped a little faster. That's how it sounds, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, they went their separate ways. Michael Watts pulled the vocals of one. He took the beat of the other. And T. Ferris gave me a beat CD out of nowhere. While all this is going on, I signed a deal with the Swisha House as a solo artist. The Swisha House originally wasn't a record label in the sense of they were putting out albums. It was a record label in the sense of they only put out mixtapes. Michael Watts only put out mixtapes. They didn't sign artists, develop them, put them out, and they got an album release party. They got an album. Nah, they only put out mixtapes. It's kind of similar, we followed the blueprint that the Screwed Up Clique, created, where it was a DJ with rappers rapping about local things and the Texas flow that Lil Keke basically created. The Screwed Up Clique wasn't a record label. They made mixtapes, but all of the artists on the Screwed Up Clique went to Jam Down, Big Time Records, went to with a Rec Shop Records, went to Presidential Records, or all the different, where there's somebody getting money in the hood, they got some money. Hey, let me sign you to my deal. And they start a record label, but they didn't go to school for it. This is their first ever, rap release, kind of thing. So it was, it was a lot of learning on the job kind of thing. So we learned a lot from the mistakes they made and the successes they had. We learned a lot from that, as an independent artist. You could see. So the Screwed Up Clique, that's how they did it. DJ Screw did it. He wasn't putting out the albums, although he did have his compilations, like, 3 a.m, stuff like that. So that's kind of the same thing. Well, the Swisha House, we putting out the Day Hair Broke Loose as a compilation, but as artists, it's just mixtapes for us to go sign with other people. Anyway, somewhere along the lines, they made the decision, hey, let's start signing our artists and not having them go elsewhere. Let's sign them. Let's put them out. So, Big Tiger, Archie Lee, Lil Ron, a few other people here and there that would then maybe I'm in there somewhere, Mike Jones, Magnificent in there somewhere. But anyway, when I come in there, that's when now it's a full-fledged record label. And T. Ferris like, look, we working on an album right now. It's a compilation album, Day Hair Broke Goose Part 2. Of course, I was on Day Hair Broke Goose Part 1 as well, so I already know. Okay, we're working on Part 2. Look, I got a beat CD. It's 8 beats on here. Whatever you feeling, write to. If you like it, write to it. If you don't, if you want to do a whole song, you can do the whole song. If you want to do 2 verses, 1 verse, do it. You want to do a hook, you want to do a hook in a verse, whatever you want to do whatever you want to do. I'm hungry because at this point, nobody wanted to sign me at this point. When I'm signed to the Swisha House now, and I'm writing my verse for Still Tippin', this is right after me and Chamillionaire, we blew up underground. But then we got in our situation where we had a beef. We went our separate ways. We were completely separate from each other. And the whole music industry in Texas was like, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. We kind of kept it off of wax So a lot of the historical records, aren't there. You know what I'm saying? We never put it on wax. We never dissed each other, called each other name out, things like that, where once you do that, now there's a historical record of it. You know what I'm saying? But we for sure had a huge beef personally where we couldn't stand each other. We hated each other. We'd have been fighting, or if we ever seen each other. That's how bad it was. But we grew up together as well, though. I knew him since I was 6 years old. So we've been fighting each other since we were 6 years old too. So when I say, it's like, your cousin or your brother, you fight all the time, but then you see each other at Christmas and, hey, how you doing? Yeah, good to see you. It ain't no big deal. So, but, at the same time, he got gangsters with him. I got gangsters with me. Some of them, they all didn't grow up with each other. They don't feel that, so we know what could come if it go to blows. So we both avoided that at all costs because it was bigger than us. The whole Texas music, Houston music, getting the opportunity was bigger than us and our personal situation. But anyway, when we went our separate ways, I couldn't pay a record label to sign me. Every single record label that wanted to sign us, me and Camille there, they always like, yeah, you cool, pa. I fuck with you as a person, but man, I want to sign y'all, not you. And all of them said that. So it was the only one that was left was Swish House. And T Ferris, I didn't even know it was an option for me to even go to the Swish House. So I'd have went banging on their door, kicking the door down like the police trying to get a deal. But T Ferris, came to me one day. It was like, this is after I had an underground career with the Swish House, but before their label. T Ferris say, look, man, I see you trying to get a deal. I talked to G-Dash. I talked to Michael 5000 Watts. We all love you. Man, we got number love for you. Look, I don't want you to think we pressuring you or I'm trying to butter you up to sign you. Because me and T Ferris were real close. We were real good friends. And he was like, look, I don't want you thinking I'm trying to be friends with you just so I can sign you, but I want you to know that the Swisher House door is always open for you. For Power Wow, the Swisher House door is always open. And if you need a record deal, we would love to sign you over here. And I was like, damn, you just don't know. You're the only one on the planet that wanted to sign me. So of course I took it. And he says, look, we're working on the Day Hell Broke Loose, and then it's gonna be probably a Mike Jones, Magnificent, maybe another album. They had already put out their first album. Maybe it might be a Mike Jones solo, maybe a Magnificent solo, maybe we'll get a big major record deal. Of course, you always got them hopes. But the major labels, they would crumb you, and they would offer you the least amount of thing possible. And we businessmen, so it's like, we would only take the major deal for the opportunity, not for the money, because you ain't making shit. They taking everything. And those days too, they took everything you made before them too. So if I come to them with a catalog, they want my catalog too. So it's like, damn, they taking everything. So we only doing it for the opportunity. So we always knew this is only a temporary situation because we play by different rules. We play the game fair. They don't play the game fair. They gonna love you today and they don't know you tomorrow. And this is how it goes. It's not, it's just the nature of the beast. So anyway, T Ferris say, look, we got a beat CD, it's eight beats on there. Whatever you want to do. I do every single one of them except one. And there was one beat on there that I'm listening to on the boombox that's about this size of my hand, like it's about the size of a football. And if the bass get any louder, it's gonna skip the CD. So you gotta turn the bass down, turn the volume down and just hope it don't skip. Hope the CD not scratch. So I'm sitting there like, man, T Ferris, I don't know what to do. It's a violin. People ain't rapping. Ain't no violin in hip hop beats. You know what I'm saying? It might have been like one or two songs ever in hip hop, before that, you know what I'm saying, that had the violins or something like that. And so I'm like, man, what am I supposed to rap about? Because I was getting distracted by the violin instead of just immersing myself in the vibe or the beat. I was getting distracted by the instrument. So T Ferris say, man, you ain't got to rap, but, if you can't think of nothing, just do a freestyle on it. I said, man, you're right. And I just did a freestyle on it. And then it just so happened, I talked about some things on it. I got 84s poking out. Stuff, I'm talking about swangers where it kind of went with the subject matter of the other Still Tippin'. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know it wasn't, I was just rapping on a blank beat. It wasn't like, hey, this is Still Tippin'. Hey, we're going to fly the vocals in, this and that. Nah, it was, hey, rap on this blank beat. And me and Magnificent Magno, we both rapped on that beat. And he had a hard verse too. His verse was hard too. But anyway, at this time, now they're like, okay, we gotta fly in the vocals because we're not using this beat for the rough draft of Still Tippin'. We're not using that beat anymore. We gotta find a new beat for it. Okay, well, there was another beat on The Day Hell Broke Loose too, where it had this nutcracker, the play, the nutcracker. It had this sample where the song that's in Home Alone, a lot of people know it as the Home Alone song. The dum 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 dum. It's in Home Alone. Everybody knows it from Home Alone, but it's really from the Nutcracker. Anyway, they had Sally, who made Still Tippin', Sitting Sideways, all our hits, from back in that era. He also had made this beat. So imagine a beat that sounds like Sitting Sideways or Still Tippin', or Back Then They Didn't Want Me, Now I'm Hot, They All On Me, or Draped Up and Dripped Out, or any of these kind of style of beats, but with the Nutcracker. Okay, everybody in the Swisher House was convinced. Now look, I'm telling you this like third party. I wasn't a part of this. I didn't get a vote. But everybody in the Swisher House was convinced that's the beat. That's the beat for the Still Tippin' rough draft vocals. That's the beat. That's the beat. Okay, well, T. Ferris was convinced, man, it's this other one with the violin. I just think, man, Slim Thug on here, this will sound so hard on here on this violin. The do-do-do-do-do-do-do, what became what we know as Still Tippin' today. So T. Ferris fought hard for it, and they was like, well, nah, the tempo don't match. That tempo's slower than the rough draft tempo. And T. Ferris said, well, man, we just switch the house, slow it down. That's what we do anyway, slow it down. Let's just see how it sounds. Slow it down. Of course, it sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. Hands down, way better. Just everything about it, the vibe about it. It's just, not that the rough draft sounded terrible. The rough draft in its own right is a dope song too. But when you compare the two, they're two completely different vibes, sounds. And even though Mike Jones and Slim Thug are saying the same vocals and it's the same recorded track, that's the same, they didn't re-record their verses. It's the same record. The effects and everything, whatever they did, whatever Michael Watts did to put his effects on there, it was the platinum touch of what was needed to make it what it is today. And then I'll never forget, even then, they were like, okay, what are we gonna do? Because you got Mike Jones verse, Slim Thug verse, Chameleonaire verse, because that was the rough draft. It was Chameleonaire as well. There's those three. Now, me and Magnificent, we rapped on the do-do-do-do-do-do-do. We rapped on that. So we have two verses on that. So there's 5 potential verses you can use. What are you gonna do? We can't have 5 verses on it. And so back in those days, we might put 5 verses on a song. And then, for the radio, you cut it down or some shrink it down, or people get their verse taken off with this and that. But you talking about, 5 heavy hitters, Paul Wall, Slim Thug, Chameleonaire, Mike Jones, and Magnificent. Man, you talking about 5 hit, who are you gonna take off? And everybody on there had a dope verse. They all sound different for different ways, different reasons, but we all sounded dope on there. So that became the discussion of, well, who is gonna be the final version that we put out? Who's gonna be on there? It has to be Slim Thug. You can't take him off because his verse got sampled for the hook. So you have to use him. And of course, Slim Thug, and as we talking about the Swish House, Slim Thug always is, always has been, always will be the top dog of the Swish House. Always. He always has been in terms of when it comes to rappers. So, you can't, that's my big bro. We the same age. We came up together and he my big homie. So, it's, hey, big shout out to Slim. So for sure you can't take Slim Thug off. And then Mike Jones at that time, he had a wave of popularity that was just, it's so hard to explain to people who didn't get to experience it, but it was like a uprising like no other, where he grinded his ass off and he put in, like, it's almost like, you start today is day 1, and in 6 months, he's, the number 1 artist in the country. You know what I'm saying? That's like unheard of. Even me, it took me years and years and years and years and years to get to the point we talk about now, that I'm finally now talking about Still Tippin'. That took me at least 5 years, you know what I'm saying, to get to that point. You know what I'm saying? So we talking about Mike Jones, who did this in 6 months. It's like, man, it's a rise, a meteoric rise like no other, man. But it was due to his hard work he put in. He deserved every bit of it, man. But so you can't take Mike Jones off of there either. And then it's like, well, who do you put on? Is it, Chameleonaire? I just signed with the Swish House Magno signed with the Switch House, so more than likely it's gonna be one of ours. Also, Chameleonaire verse, they felt it didn't exactly go with it. And this is right around the time Mike Jones and Chameleonaire got a beef going on as well. Their shit was on wax. So it was like, do you put Chameleonaire and Mike Jones on the same song and use their beef and the controversy to push the music? Or do you also know what comes with it? That means y'all gonna be performing the song together on stage. You know, like, man, that's just a lot to ask of people when you talking about some gangsters or people that's like close to being gangsters. You know, there's a lot to ask. Like, hey, man, you gonna see each other all the time, act like you cool, whatever, this and that. But this person talking about you talking about them, like, man, that's a lot to ask. So, you know, it also was a situation where do we take him off to avoid a situation? And I think that's kind of what it came down to. Maybe also because, like I said, I didn't get a vote. I don't know. Of course, I'd have voted for me to be on there, of course, but I didn't get a vote. But they voted, you know, and it came down to they chose my verse, so I got to be on there. But even then, I'll never forget, T. Ferris had this Jag. He had a clean Jag. The insides, everything was so clean. I've never seen the color of this color, insides this color, man. He pulled up, jamming the song, Still Tippin'. Just smiling with a Kool-Aid smile. I'm talking about a smile where he's glowing, like blushing, smiling. You know, T. Ferris, like, he's like kind of, I'll say light skinned. You know what I'm saying? He's like, he ain't bright, but he's light skinned. You know, he do got some, like, so he almost like red a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So when he smile like that, or if he get upset or something, you'll see that kind of red come out of him. And he was glowing kind of like this, like smiling, glowing. I'll never forget it. He just smiling. And I'm thinking he's smiling like that Phil Jackson coach. Hey, I told you I was right. Coach always right. I thought that's like an ego thing. Like, I'm always right. You know, so I'm feeling kind of bad. Like, because also what I'm hearing Still Tippin'. If you think about Still Tippin', I got the last verse. I'm hearing the chorus, Slim Thug verse, the chorus, Mike Jones verse, the chorus, my verse. So I'm not expecting to hear my verse. I got the last verse. So when T. Ferris pull up, listen, hey, listen, I got something. I want you to listen to this. Listen to this. You're going to listen to this. Watch. Wait till you hear this. Wait till you hear this. I told you I was right. Just watch. You know, and he pull up and he playing it. I'm thinking I got took off Donda. Like I'm just talking about with Drive Slow. I'm thinking somehow my verse got took off. I didn't make the cut, you know, or something like that. So I'm like, damn. Because I'm hearing it, and obviously the song, when T. Ferris jamming it in his Jag, hell yeah, that bitch jamming like a motherfucker. It's not sounding like how it sounded when it was on the boombox, football boombox, where it had zero bass. It had negative bass. You know what I'm saying? You had to go hit the negative all the way below zero. It had -6 or whatever the maximum was. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm hearing it in T. Ferris Jag. I'm like, damn, but you weren't lying. That motherfucker hard. This bitch jamming. But then I'm also like, damn, I got took off of that. I was wrong again. Damn. So I'm thinking, I'm feeling down on myself. And he like, nah, just listen. And I'll never forget when my verse came on, T. Ferris just sitting in the drop seat. She's sitting there looking at me like, yeah. Just wait. Just wait. And then my verse come on, and he's like, yeah. I told you to go. He just wired up just cause it's like I hit the game winning shot. And I had no confidence in myself that, you know, hey, don't pass me the rock, coach, I'm gonna miss it. And he like, man, you crazy, you gonna hit that shot. And he tell me hit the shot, and I hit it, and we win the championship. That's like what it felt like when my verse came on. And I'm like, boy, T. Ferris, boy, you right again. Boy, he got a hell of a right streak. But man, you know, thank God, I made the cut on there. You know, people often debate, you know, who got the best verse on there. You know what I'm saying? Of amongst us. I mean, I think I did go hard on there, but when I used to write verses, I used to go into, like I say, go to the closet or go to the car where there's no beat. So when I would come back to lay them, sometimes they would be jumbled. So that's why I got 84 poking out at the club. I'm showing all that, or whatever I'm saying in there. That's not how I wrote it. I wrote it to be just a what it do is power wild on the people champ. Just the same tempo all the time. I got 84s poking out at the club, I'm showing out. But when I laid it, it was a slightly different tempo than I wrote it to. And I'm trying to catch my breath and say the words, keep up. So it came out like that. And it was like, And I gotta say it over. And they're like, nope, 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 don't say it over. That's perfect, you know? So that's when you gotta let people save you from yourself. But if you ask me who got the hardest verse, I personally think Slim Thug got the hardest verse. One, his chorus is came derived from a freestyle. It's a sample from a freestyle he did in '99. And the freestyle was hard as fuck. And so, first of all, the song itself is inspired and taken from Slim Thug freestyle. Second, Slim Thug's verse is basically an updated version of his freestyle. If you go back and listen to the freestyle he did in '99 and you compare it to Still Tippin' that came out in 2004, you're going to hear it's a similar verse, he just updated. You know, in one verse he's at this club and the next verse he's at that club. And this verse he's in this car and that verse he's in this car because, you know, they got a new car that came out, you know, whatever. So, you know, I don't know, there's nostalgic feelings to me when it comes to Slim Thug verse. You know, Mike Jones, of course, had a hard verse as well. He had a lot of stuff that went on to be sampled. He sampled himself on there. Back then, They Didn't Want Me, Now I'm Hot, They All On Me, which is another hip-hop classic. Mike Jones came with it. You know, that was like kind of the world's first intro to Mike Jones' style of repeating his lines, where he would say a line and then repeat it, and then repeat it again, and then catch back up like he never repeated it, you know, and it was like, MCs kind of wouldn't do that because they maybe would look down on it like, oh, you being lazy, whatever. But he took it and used it as a strength. Like that's, you know, that was one of his superpowers where he would say the same line over and over. And it would be a momentum buildup when he says it first and he says it again and he says it the third time. So, and like I tell you, he had a wave of popularity. When the crowds would sing his verses, they would go bananas singing his verse. They still do, but you know, it definitely, we all three had our different styles that we brought to it. You know, of course, a lot of people say I went the hardest on there. Thank you for that. If you ask me, I personally think the boss went the hardest on there, but none of us was whack. None of us was whack.
But speaking of Mike Jones, yo, when you first knew Mike Jones, he was selling pagers, and you didn't find out that he was a rapper until you was at Chameleonaire House, huh?
Yeah, I remember when we were getting ready to go out of town for a show, and we were meeting Michael Watts over there to get some. We used to buy the CDs wholesale from him, so when we go to a show, we can go sell them at the shows. And he was meeting us over there to drop off CDs, and he was like, "Yeah, I just signed an artist, Mike Jones. He said he might know y'all or this and that." And we were like, "Wait a minute, that's where we just got our pages from," because he used to sell the Skytel pages. Like he had like a little plug on them. He didn't. I don't know. Maybe he did work at a store. I don't know him as working at a store. He was like just somebody who would hustle. Hey, I got to hook up on the pages. I got a bunch of them, you know. So he if he was today, he'd be the guy with the the new iPhones. Whoever got the new iPhone, that's a plug you want to have. So you know, we wasn't mad at all. We like, oh, you signed the plug to the Swisher House? Hell yeah, that's what's up. We about to all get hooked up now.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Mike Jones. You have any idea where he at now, yo?
Mike Jones, I see him a lot on the road. We tour together. You know, we do a lot of shows together still. He's still doing his thing. He's still dropping, releasing music, still killing it. You know what I'm saying? I think he still lives in Texas. I believe he lives in Dallas. But I mean, I don't know. But yeah, he's definitely doing his thing. I don't think he's retired from recording music. I think he's still recording music. But you know, I don't know, like some of us, like me, Slim Thug, we kind of had our own studios. So even when we were doing mixtapes, we were releasing music that we recorded ourselves out of our own studio. You know, sometimes it might have been me pushing the space bar, you know, or we would have people come over and be our engineer or whatever. We have different engineers. You definitely learn that you get what you pay for. And if you the one pushing the space bar, then that's what you're going to get. But if you got a real engineer, then it's going to come out sounding a little crispier, sometimes a lot crispier. But, you know, some of us, you know, like I said, we have our own studio. So I don't need to go to a studio to record or to work. I go to the studio every day to work, just like anybody else go to their 9-to-5 job. You know, but some other people, they don't have their own studios like that. So they have to, you know, they get into a mode of, all right, I'm going to go on the road, or, okay, now I'm going to start working on the album. The album's done. Now I'm going to start promoting the album. Now I'm going to, you know, go on the road and perform the songs, this and that, where it's a little different for me, where I'm every single day of the week. If I'm not on the road, I'm at the studio recording something just so I could staying ahead of the game is how you on time. That's how you on time. That ain't how I'm ahead of the game, but I'm not. I'm on time. Because when you on time, you late. You can't be late. You cannot. That's unacceptable. It's very unacceptable to be late. So the only way to be on time is to be ahead. So, but some people don't record like that. They just do it in pockets, or when they work on an album, that's when they record. And I think Mike Jones is one of those people where he doesn't really necessarily record unless he's working on something. But again, I don't know, man. Whatever he's doing, man, work on something, drop something, my dog. You know what I'm saying? We'll be happy to jam it and relax.
Another verse you killed was that verse on Nelly record Grillz, man. How did that record come about? I heard it's a wild story behind that.
Being on Grillz, yeah. This is something that's something that still is kind of unbelievable to me. Of course, one, because of how, big the song got, being nominated for a Grammy or being a global commercial for me and Johnny to sell Grillz, or, just being such a hip hop great song. Also being, of course, a crossover kind of song, because all my other music was about cars or like street kind of music, where, now we talking about like something where you could play it on a pop radio station and they gonna know the song as well. So for me to be a part of something like that, and then you talking about Nelly, Jermaine Dupri, Big Gip, Ali. Hey, say man, you talking about some greats, so to be able to have a song with them or be associated in any way with them. I just saw something the other day. We're talking about Jermaine Dupri got the most number ones of any other hip hop producer or any other producer or something, where he got like 12 and Brian Michael Cox got 11 or something, like where they was like neck and neck, but they both was like the most number ones. So I'm very happy to be one of them with Grillz being number one. Hey, I'm very excited about that. But even then, you talking about a time I was a grill salesman. I made grills. I was a traveling grill salesman. So I would use the grill. I would sell grills to make money to fund my rap career. And, everybody want to be a rapper. Just like now, everybody makes music in one way or another. They produce, or they rap, or they sing, or this, or they brother, cousin, or nephew do, or niece, or whoever do. Everybody makes music these days. It was the same way back then. So to separate myself of just being another rapper in the mix, because also rap don't pay the bills unless you really making moves. Just because you're releasing releasing music don't mean you're making money. So I learned early on, you make your money on other things, but the rap, that's how you become a superstar. But I make my money off of Grillz, but that funds the rap career. That makes me a bigger superstar to sell more Grillz, to meet more artists, to get more songs to further the rap career, to be able to promote that. So it's like it's an algorithm involved. It's not just you do this and that happens. It's a whole algorithm involved. And so to tap into it. So anyway, I'm selling Grillz, doing my music, doing my thing. People start finding out, Paul Wall sells Grillz. I made a grill for T.I. T.I. put me on his mixtape and was like, yeah, my boy Paul Wall made Grillz. Y'all must have forgot my boy Paul Wall made Grillz. And that was the point where people outside of Texas and Louisiana would then start coming to me for Grillz. At that point, I would sell the hell out of Grillz in Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. But further than that, Arkansas is a little stretch. Alabama, Florida, Georgia, stretch. But when T.I. gave me that shout out, that's when all of the market opened up for me to sell Grillz. So I'm tapped in selling Grillz. Okay, out of nowhere, I get a call from T.I. He said, say, man, congratulations. I saw him and T.I., let me take it back. T.I. and Nelly on tour together. They were doing a tour together. This is the same time, I believe, Nelly's sister passed away. Rest in peace, Nelly's sister. T.I. calls me, says, yeah, man, I see my boy Nelly got a grill from you. Nelly came up to me and was like, yeah, your boy Paul Wall did this. Look at this. Check this out. Your boy Paul Wall did this. Congratulations. That's big. Of course, Nelly's huge. So for me to do a grill for Nelly, absolutely, it would have been the biggest grill I ever made for anybody. So T.I. really genuinely congratulated me. Like, damn, that's big. So I'm like, but I'm confused, because I'm like, man, I never met Nelly a day in my life. I'd love to make him a grill, but what are you talking about? Now, my partner, Johnny Dang, he was kind of out the loop. He more so ran the workshop in the store side of things, and I ran the public out-facing, marketing and all of that kind of stuff. Johnny all the time would come in the store. He don't know who somebody, is. Shaq comes in the store. He don't know who that. Now, of course, once you meet Shaq, then you know who he is. But when that person first comes in the store, Johnny's like, who is that? It's a basketball player. Oh, okay. He don't watch basketball. He does now. But you gotta also realize he's a Vietnamese immigrant. So when he was at this time, you talking about in 2003, 4, 5, 6, man, Johnny new to the game. He don't know what basketball really is. Like, he ain't watching basketball like that. He ain't listening to rap music. He can't barely speak English. So how you gonna listen to rap? He did learn a lot of his English. He picked it up from listening to rap music, but he don't understand what they saying. So he don't know this rapper from that rapper. Like, for the longest, Johnny thought Bow Wow and Pow Wow is the same person. For the longest, he didn't realize that little Bow Wow and Paul Wall is the same, because we don't say Paul Wall. We say, what's up, Pow Wow? Oh, what's up, Bow Wow? They sound the same. Also, he got that accent where the Bow, Pa, it was a little difficult for him to say the names like that, and he confused, like, man, what, who? Y'all ain't the same person? So Johnny, so I'm thinking in my mind, well, maybe we did make Grillz for Nelly and Johnny just didn't know who it was. Even then, like, when Young Dolph, rest in peace to my brother, when he blew up and, came and got a whole new set of jewelry from Johnny, it was at a time where it was like, oh yeah, I've been selling you jewelry for years. But he just wasn't a famous rapper. He just was a dope boy, a trapper. You know what I'm saying? So that's also, so we sell stuff to people. We sell stuff to people all the time where, you know what I'm saying, Johnny, that's a huge celebrity. You don't know who that is, and Johnny just wouldn't know, at the time. So is it possible we sold a grill to Nelly? Yeah, it's possible, but how did we miss out on knowing? Because if I knew I sold a grill to Nelly, I'd have been telling the whole world. And I know Johnny would have been too. We would have been so proud of that. You got somebody who's an elite, a GOAT, the top of the game. And hey, say, man, that's huge. So I'm like, I'm trying to get to the mystery, get down to the mystery of the Nelly grills. How do we get these grills? Well, come to find out, look, selling grills is something that took me to different levels in my rap career. And there are other rappers who also learned that. They discovered that if you sell grills, it will help you. It helped Paul Wall. Because I'm not shy to tell it. I'll tell the rappers now, yes, it helped me a lot. If you got an opportunity to, sell grills or jewelry and you want to use that to further your rap career, by all means, do that. I'm not going to be salty. I'm going to be like, yep, it worked for me. It's going to work for you. You know what I'm saying? If you work at the Cadillac dealership, hell yeah, I'm gonna do a song with you if you can give me that Cadillac for a cheaper price. It's the same for grills or whatever, or whatever. You work at the Versace store, you want to make music, and you can give me a discount on Versace, and it's gonna be 40% off everything in the store. What? I'm a return customer. You damn right I'm gonna do that song. So, say by all means, I made a lot of money selling grills. I made a lot of connections selling grills. Also, it made me look good because of course I'm gonna have some top-notch grills myself if I'm selling them. So, you know what I'm saying? But there are some other rappers that kind of took that and they, you want a Paul Wall grill? Yeah, I'll get you a Paul Wall grill. I'll get you a Johnny grill. What they mean is the Paul Wall style grill or a Johnny style grill. So that essentially is what happened. There was another person who was selling grills who basically went to Nelly and was like, hey, we want to get you some Paul Wall grills. And he was like, yeah, I want some Paul Wall grills. And they got him some grills, but it wasn't some Paul Wall grills. It was in the similar style, but it wasn't the same. Now, I only found this out because, that's just behind the scenes. But in my mind, I'm like, who made Nelly some grills? Because we didn't make him some grills. Johnny, you made Nelly some grills? Don, you know who Nelly is? And Johnny like, yeah, I know who Nelly is. Like I say, Johnny don't know who at that time, he didn't know who a lot of people were. But even at that time, he still knew who Nelly was. So that's why I'm like, that's how big Nelly was. So that's why I'm like, well, damn, Johnny, if you know who Nelly is, then you would have known if we made him grill. And I told him, I said, man, T.I. say, Nelly told him we made him his grills. And Johnny like, man, what? But also keep in mind, Johnny started off as a wholesaler. He was a manufacturer for people like me who would go out and sell to the public. Johnny didn't sell to the public. He sold to middlemen, and we would go sell to the public. So there were tons of people we made grills for that they didn't even know we made their grills. They think somebody else made their grill when all that person did was, charge you double and write you up a receipt for your grill mold. We made the grill. They just took your grill mold and wrote you a receipt and made charge you double or triple. Really, the markup on jewelry really is triple. So we came in charging double. All the jewelers hated us, or really, really hated Johnny. They didn't hate me so much because I'm a rapper. They look at me as being a rapper. They look at Johnny as being a jeweler. So the jewelers hated Johnny because we come in just charging double instead of triple. The customers love us, so we came up. And Johnny just like, man, we ain't got to charge triple. We can charge double and still be balling like a motherfucker. So that's what we did. So we thinking, okay, well, maybe it must have been one of our wholesale grill salesmen who gave or sold, because they sold them the grills, who sold Nelly the grills. We just never knew. We left it at that till one day I'm in New York and we checking in to a hotel in New York and we look over and we like, oh, they go to St. Lunatics checking in. Nelly wasn't there, but we see the other St. Lunatics, some of the other St. Lunatics. And we like, they go, Ali, this person, that person, Murphy Lee. They go, man, we hype. Man, they icons. We love them. So we like, damn. We kind of check in. We just like a little nervous, like, hey, what's up? We don't say, hey, what's up? How you doing? I'm a big fan, all of that. Well, of course you want to, but you don't want to there's also, ladies with them. I don't know, is this their wives or girlfriends? Is this their assistant publicist? But regardless of whoever's with them, for whatever reason, we don't want to embarrass ourselves. You know what I'm saying? And, I've embarrassed a few times. Hey, how you doing? Well, you trying to show somebody love? And they're like, get away from me. We don't want to talk to you. And it's like, damn. You get embarrassed quick, and you definitely feel a certain way. You can't listen to their music the same way again. And I listen to a lot of the St. Lunatics. I listen to a lot of Nelly. So these people that I don't want to have a bad interaction, and I can't listen to their music no more. So it's just a quick little, hey, what's up? How you doing? And you get your key and you get on the elevator as quick as you can. You're like, oh, damn, we just met the Louis. Shout, man. One of them type of situations. So that's how it was. My boy Goose said, hey, I get my room key. I go in the elevator. It's just me. Now, right getting on the elevator with me is Big Grip. Big Grip is Nelly, like somebody who works for Nelly. I don't know, is like assistant, something like that, where he's like one of Nelly homeboys from St. Louis who, end up working for him as an assistant or like somebody on the road working for him or working for management, something like that. So he get on the elevator with me. And I didn't know who he was. I just knew he's somebody that's with the St. Lunatics, somebody that's with Nelly, get on the elevator. And he's like, what's up? I'm like, what's up? And he's like, hey, man, congrats on everything, man. You doing your thing, this and that. And I'm like, damn, that's what's up, man. I'm a huge fan of y'all, man, whatever. And they're like, oh, that's what's up, man. I'm going to introduce you to everybody. They want to meet you too, whatever, And I'm like, man, I didn't even know who I am. But, we got a deal. So, we were making noise so people knew you sometimes. But, I mean, I never expected people to just, yeah, they know who I am. Not even on some non-ego shit. Just on some common sense. Like everybody don't know everybody, you know what I'm saying? Or they might not recognize what I don't know. So I'm not gonna make it. I definitely don't want to embarrass myself and assume somebody knows me and they don't have a clue. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, damn, I can't even believe y'all know who I am. And he's like, yeah, man, yeah, we know who you are. You the one sold Nelly the grills, man. We love the grills that Nelly got. Matter of fact, man, what we got to do to get some grills, man? Everybody else wants some. I want some too. We all want some grills. What we got to do? And I said, man, I mean, how do you say this? I don't know how to say this. So I'm like, man, I don't know how to say this, but I heard T.I. told me this too. We didn't make Nelly grills. What are you talking about? And he said, yeah, man, we met Johnny and this and that. And we met this, your boy such and such. I don't want to say their name and just put them on blast. We met your boy such and such. He's another artist though. And he took us to Johnny and said, yeah, this is making our Power Wall grills. This Johnny right here, whatever. I said, man, look, man, the artist you speaking about, man, he kind of take it personal that I get like notoriety for making grills. So he's kind of like trying to honestly take some of that notoriety from me. And look, I'm going to be honest, there's 2 jewelers in Houston, maybe more than that, named Johnny. One is named Hassan, but his nickname in America is Johnny. One is named Twan, but his nickname in America is Johnny. I guess both of those names, it's like if somebody named Juan. It's all John, it's all the same name, but it's like the American or wherever they're from version of the same name. You know what I'm saying? So, but none of these jewelers' name on their birth certificate is John or Johnny. So, this other jeweler, one jeweler, the Johnny that everybody knows, no disrespect to the other jeweler, but I mean, there's one Johnny the jeweler that the world knows, and that's my guy. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy. The other jeweler, he's a very successful jeweler. He sold tons of jewelry. He makes great jewelry too. I'm not knocking him by any means. But, when we say Johnny the jeweler, there's one jeweler that the world is thinking. But the person who brought Nelly over there used Nelly's, not knowing the situation, the politics of Houston jewelers or Houston rap jewelers or Houston rap entrepreneur jeweler, whatever it is. He don't know this. He just getting the grill. So anyway, I tell when Big Grip says, yeah, man, he took us to Johnny this and that. I said, man, you know what? I thought about it. I said, just for my own, for shits and gigs, for my own purposes. I said, hey, man, let me ask you something. When y'all went to Johnny, was it an Indian guy or was it an Asian guy? And he said, no, he said it was an Indian guy. And I don't know if Johnny's the other jeweler, Johnny. I don't know if he's Indian, but he's like Indian, like looking. You know what I'm saying? So part of my ignorance if he's not Indian, whatever his ethnicity or race is, But that's like what we say, oh, the Indian guy. That's what everybody says. So that's the world thinks he's Indian. Anybody who knows who he is thinks he's Indian. So it's man. But anyway, so I'm like, man, did y'all go to the Indian dude or the Asian dude? And he say, man, we went to the Indian dude. I said, man, look, that's when I instantly knew. I said, okay, man, let me tell you. The person who took y'all over there, is this who took y'all? Yeah, that's who took us over there, your boy. I said, man, look, he's my boy in public, but really he a little jealous or, of the notoriety I'm getting from selling grills. So he took y'all over there on purpose because he didn't want to bring you to my guy. He brought you to his guy. I said, man, look, I'm happy Nelly looking good. His grills look good. They didn't look bad. But let me show you what one of our grills look like, man. Please let me. So all right, yeah, I'm gonna tell Mo, man. That's what everybody call Nelly is Mo. Man, I'm gonna tell Mo. And then, I that's when I meet Nelly through text. Yeah, I see you, man, my boy Grip. Whatever, man. Yeah, hey, he said y'all ain't make these grills, man. That's cool. I said, man, look, we did not, but look. Me and Johnny, we want to give you a set. I know you bought those grills, but we want to give you a set of grills to show you what one of our grills would look like. And I told Johnny, I was like, look, Johnny, look, we got to go in on the grills. At that time, the highest grill we sold maybe was around $25,000, but that's what the sales price was. At that time, it cost us $25,000 to make the grill cost us that. So the sales price on that, you talking about like 50, 7,500, especially with the triple the markup. You know what I'm saying? So hands down, for sure, Nelly's grill, the one we made for Nelly that we gave to him, that cost us $20,000. I'm talking about absolute wholesale cost. That's an absolute 20,000. We still put 20,000 into it. But it was a hell of an investment because let me tell you, that was hands down the most expensive grill we made to that point. And it was a walking billboard. And as soon as Nelly got his grill, he was like, hey, I love my grill. I got this song I'm doing. You want to get on it? Hell yeah, I want to get on it. What you mean? Of course I want to get on it, and he told me, he was like, hey, man, you want to get on this song Grillz? And so I'm knowing, first of all, I made other songs about grills. I probably made 1,000, Paul Walls literally probably made over 1,000 songs talking about diamonds on your teeth or grills on your teeth. Maybe we didn't say grills or let me see your grill or what we said in the song Grillz, but I made so many songs about grills that nobody cared about, so what that tell me? That tells me the missing link is not me. The ingredient is Jermaine Dupri and Nelly. I'm the garnish on the side. You know what I'm saying? I might have came with it on my verse. I did my thing. That garnish, when you getting that, steak or whatever you getting in that little parsley, whatever comes on the side, it looked real nice. Sometimes they'll chop up the fruit and have it looking like a boat or something, they do special things with the whatever, but you going for that steak. That's what you eating. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying, like, I might have looked good. I might sound sound good on the song, but what make that song a hit is Nelly and Jermaine Dupri. It is not me. I'm blessed to be part of it, but man, it is not me. But even then, you know, Nelly say, look, I got the song. I want you to get on. We're making a song about Grillz. What you think? You down to get on it? I'm like, hell yeah, send me the song. When we made Grillz, this was the week my album came out, or right around that time. So I'm like, it's either week or the week after. So right around that time, I'm every single day I'm somewhere. I might be one day in New York, Philly, and DC the same day, and the next day I'm in Indianapolis, you know, Atlanta, Mobile, and Jackson, Mississippi, and the next day I'm, you know, you're in multiple cities in one day, and you going from the morning show to the after party at the club. You going, I'm talking about sun up to sundown, and you going from, you know, every star in that sky is gone. You till the sun come right back up. We was juicing every minute we could to make the most of that opportunity, because I seen other artists come get major deals, and they like, yeah, I made it, and they kick their feet back, yeah, I made it. They think that's a vacation. When you get your major deal, it's just like when you go to the pros. Tom Brady, LeBron James, Serena Williams, they working harder than anybody in college. Way harder than anybody in college. And they working harder than anybody in high school. And they working harder than anybody in AAU. So as you level up, it's a different level of commitment. It's a different level of grind, different level of dedication, a different level of sacrifice. So I know that going into when I signed this major deal, I'm sacrificing everything. I didn't have kids yet. You know, I wasn't married yet. Man, this is all I got, man. I'm putting it all because it's bigger than me. Also, me being a fan of the Texas rap, man, I know there's not a lot of artists from my era or my generation or my region to get a national spotlight put on them. So if you fumble that ball, that affects the person that come behind you. You know what I'm saying? If that fake punt don't work right the first time, they might not ever try it again. You feel me? So I'm knowing that. I'm knowing that, man, if I don't dedicate my all to this, then that's gonna affect, you know, years later if Maxo Cream gets a deal, or Megan Thee Stallion gets a deal, or Toby Nwigwe, or Sauce Walker out there killing it. What I'm doing now is gonna affect. Of course, I'm not knowing these people then. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like 5 years old at that time. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe not even born yet. But I am realizing the gravity of the situation of whatever I do. This affects everybody in Texas. So I'm a steward for the Texas music scene. This is so much bigger than me. This is so I'm the one, maybe carrying the torch at that moment, but I didn't light it. And if this motherfucker go out, I ain't got the slightest clue how to get it back lit. You feel me? I can follow directions. I'm following the directions that my OGs and my mentors and my heroes, I'm following the directions in the past or whatever they gave me or they told me. But I'm also knowing that I'm not the one that made this motherfucker light up. I'm just here being a steward to make sure it stays lit. It got to stay lit. When I'm done holding this mug, whoever's holding it next, it has to stay lit. When they holding it, they have to know everything that they taught me, and maybe even more, because the things around us is going to change. The torch has to stay lit. So I'm knowing every chance I get, I got to commit 100% to everything. So when Nelly say, man, come out to Atlanta and do this verse for this song, I say, man, I can't. I'm on the road right now, but send me the beat. I'll do it in my studio and send it back. Nelly, we texted. Nelly called me. Nah. We texted back and forth, but he called me at this point. Nah. Paul Wall, this ain't no MP3 email situation. This is if you don't fly to Atlanta and get on this song, you're going to be kicking yourself for the rest of your life at the biggest opportunity you ever missed in your life. So damn, I didn't know it was like that. I was just saying, send me the beat, out of convenience, I didn't know it like that. But I'm like, damn, I don't know if I can do it. I'm on the road this week, this day, whatever. And he like, look, I got till Sunday or whatever day it was. I think it was a Sunday. I got till Sunday to do this, because Monday I'm turning my album in. So you can either come out here and do this or you can miss out. And I'm telling you now, this song gonna be bigger than Air Force Ones. And Air Force Ones was his biggest hit at the time. And he said, this gonna be bigger than Air Force One. So what you gonna do? You ain't got to tell me twice. I'll walk to Atlanta if I got to. So sure enough, the day and I can pinpoint the exact date because the date that we recorded Grillz, this was the day that Radio 1 was doing a big Hurricane Katrina charity concert in Atlanta. Because they asked me to perform at it, but I couldn't because of getting in, flying in, doing this, and getting out, flying out to the next thing. I couldn't do it. So anyway, I fly into Atlanta. I land about like 9 o'clock, something like that. Big Grip picked me up from the airport, and he take me to the studio, Southside Studios, where Jermaine Dupri record, I guess all of the hits, because when I walked into that thing, every inch of the wall, there's platinum plaque, number one. I'm talking about, say, man, you go to them places where, the old monuments from back in the day where they got big giant ass pillars and they don't know how they got there, and you can't even fit a piece of paper in between them. That's how it was, where you can't even fit a piece of paper between them plaques. I'm talking about every millimeter of that wall was covered in a plaque. There was number one, it was platinum or diamond. I don't even think they had no golds. It wasn't even room for the golds. If it was a gold plaque on the wall, it was something like it was his first plaque ever or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Or something that had meaning, because it was so, I'm talking about, I walk into Southside Studios, and also they got a full court basketball court, indoor court, full court, like bigger than 24 Hour Fitness or wherever, you know what I'm saying? I'm talking about they got a full on court like where the Rockets might work out and play. So I'm like, damn, man, this is different. Man, look, bro, I recorded Still Tippin'. We recorded all our freestyles those days holding the microphone. We didn't use a popper stopper. We held the microphone and we would put a t-shirt over it, and that would block out the, pop, 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 the popper stopper. But we did it for a reason, because when we rapping, we would give it that freestyle, cypher, freestyle feel where we freestyling. We in the zone, we freestyling, we holding the microphone. It would kind of change, if you get a little further away, then it gets quieter. Yeah, it would affect that a little bit. But some of that is the magic in recording the freestyle. So that's how we recorded Still Tippin'. I held the mic with a t-shirt over it. So I'm going from doing that at Michael 5000 Watts' house. Also, we recorded our freestyles at his childhood home he grew up in. That looked like it ain't been clean since he cleaned it when he was in junior high. You know what I'm saying? We called it the Dust Bowl. The nickname of the studio was the Dust Bowl, because you go like, and your whole hand would be covered in dust, because it was just so much dust everywhere in the studio. But it was like records, like he had a record collection that was out of this world. He had equipment that was out of this world, but it was just dusty as all outdoors. So I went from recording there to going into Southside Studios with Jermaine Dupri and Nelly. Like, man, you talking about, to this day, two of the biggest heavy hitters ever in music, not even just hip hop. So for me to be there, I'm out of my league. I definitely was intimidated. And Nelly definitely could sense that. And Nelly was like, pow out! Man, he got so much good positive energy, boy. God blessed him with he's like a walking battery, because he's got so much energy in him. And he's solar powered for sure, because I ain't never seen him with a dead battery. And Nelly come up to me, pow out, what's up, baby? Yeah, I know exactly what I want. I want you to come on there. I don't care what you say. But you gotta come on there. What it do, baby? It's Power Wow, baby. What it do, baby? It's Power Wow, baby. And he just, what it do, baby? He put his hand on my shoulder. It's Power Wow, baby. What it do? And when he put his hand on my shoulder, that's when he started like physically charging me up. Like, this is like only way I can explain it. Like, it was him putting his hand on my shoulder and I could feel the energy. Just, I got that energy. And he like, all right, I'm about to go do my show for Radio 1 for Katrina, and I'll be back. And so he left and went and did the show. And I'm also like, damn, I wish I could go, because they wanted me to perform. And I'm also like, damn, I could have been performing at the show with Nelly, but instead I'm in the studio with him, but even then, I mean, it wasn't possible for me to do the show, because I flew in and flew out for that song, but for the show, they was going to have me, you talking about, I was still going to be early in that lineup, and I wouldn't have made it in time. That's why I only got there so late. But anyway, I get in the studio, Nelly got me wired up, he got me energized, got me pumped up. I got my first line, what it do, baby? It's the, and I put, it's the Iceman Paul Wild. What it do, baby? It's Paul Wild, baby. I just kind of changed it around. And so I got my first line, but I know, okay, Nelly, Jermaine Dupri, and St. Lunatics, everybody's with him. The whole squad, they gone. Right now it's me and the engineer, you know. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, the hourglass is upside down. It's ticking now. The sand is coming down. Eventually, they gonna come back. I'm not trying to be here writing my verse or recording my verse with Nelly, St. Lunatics, all the people in the room. You know, there is a benefit to that because then they could give me point. Hey, say it like this. Hey, say that, say this. But I'm gonna be nervous as hell. So I'm like, damn, I got to get this done before they come back. And if they want me to change something or do it over, that's fine. But I got to get the first version done before they come back. So I work, get my verse wrote, get in there, deliver it, say it. And right when I'm like doing my ad libs, I did my verse, did my double, did this, did my stacks, did everything, doing my ad libs, my last things. Everybody start coming back into the studio. They're coming back from the show. Now, I was blessed to have some hometown homeboys there. My boy Sean Stovall, my boy Brian Michael Cox. They both from Houston. So, and I knew they're both people that I knew in Houston. Me and Sean Stovall, we used to go to the club all the time. I see him every night at the club together. So we was like club homeboys. Hey, what's up, baby? What's up? You know, somebody, one of your boys, you don't like know him, but you know him because you always see him out. Brian Michael Cox, he went to school with so many people I know. And he went to high school for performing visual arts, HSPVA in Houston. It's like where the real artists go. Like I can't play a lick of music. I don't know music theory, but the people that can went there. So Brian Michael Cox, he went there. That's where the Brian Michael Cox is, even though there's only one. The people that like aspire to be Brian Michael, they went to HSPVA. But HSPVA, they did have a lot of their alumni is not too shabby. They got some historic alumni. But Brian Michael Cox, one of them, I know people that went to high school with him. So we were friends of friends. So there's people that I know. Like I know these people, I'm in there. And as soon as I walk through the doors, you know, even before I lay my verse and they all go, because they all went to the show too. But even before all of that, when I'm in there, they wired up. Man, we finally got some Texas in here, man. We got nothing but Atlanta, nothing but Memphis, Florida. Finally, we got some Texas in here. Because they had been there holding it down for Texas. Like, man, nah, Texas got this. Texas got this. Just wait till somebody from Texas come through. Wait till somebody from Texas. So they were like, man, finally we got somebody from Texas. And I had some drink with me. So this is the first time a lot of them are like even knowing like what cough syrup is or even seeing it in person or know what it is. And I'm pouring up drinking, you know, I'm not going to say who was or wasn't. I'm going to let them say it themselves, you know what I'm saying? But some, you know, there's definitely some other people there that was partaking and it was like, damn. I'm thinking like, damn, man, wait till I tell my homeboys on the block who I'm in here drinking with. Who got a cup? I got a cup. They got a cup, man. You would never believe. Even now, you never believe it. You know, some of these people, you know, that we sharing that Texas culture with them. You know what I'm saying? But it's like Brian Michael Cox and my boy Sean Stovall, where we was in there representing, and they as well, they gave me that motivation. They gave me that confidence. But they also let me know, say, man, you doing this for Texas. Because if I come on that whack, he's going to take me off. And that was the shot that Texas had to be in the mix, and now we at the mix. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I was wired up. And then when they come back, like I say, they come back, they all in there. Brian Michael Cox, my boy Sean Stovall, they hear my verse. They like, yeah. They super wired up. Now, of course, I did do my thing on there, but they were cheering me on a lot like I won the championship. Part of that was because they were happy. They knew what it was. They was also probably feeling good, you know what I'm saying, coming back from the show or this and that. But, you know what I'm saying, they also, you know, they like, man, yeah, we told you Texas could hold it down. We told you y'all can't fuck with Texas. Come on. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, it was what it is. And it was me and Nelly, just only our verses. And I remember saying, Nelly, what you gonna do about the third verse? 'Cause I just was curious. Like, is it just gonna be me and you? You gonna put somebody on the third verse? You gonna do another third verse? What you gonna do? And he said, man, I got another third verse. And he let me hear it. He already had it recorded. And I loved it because he shouted out Johnny's name. I think he shouted out the jeweler he got his first grill from, King Johnny and TV Johnny, my Johnny, the Johnny. So he shouted both of them out in the song, and I was just thinking to myself when he let me hear it, like, man, this is gonna be huge for Johnny. He got a shout out from Nelly. That's big. That's huge. And huge for Texas selling grills, even though our competition got a shout out on there as well. That's huge for us as a Texas. You know what I'm saying? It's like that's a really good look for Texas. So even then, I never got upset if somebody came to Texas and went to a different jeweler. You know, I mean, I don't get upset if they go to another state either, but when someone came to Texas, and even if they went to another jeweler, I found pride in that man, Texas makes we make some good grills in Texas. You know, we like Grillz Alley, you know what I'm saying, over here where there's multiple jewelers that can give you some top quality stuff. Of course, we know who the toppest of the top is, but still having I always took pride in that. I never got jealous or looked down on or was mad at other jewelers. Even if they used me or something, I was like, it just is what it is, you know what I'm saying? I'm like the face of Grillz, especially at that time. I'm the billboard for these styles of grills. So it's like, I'm not mad. I never looked at the monetary. From the first grill I sold even to now, at no point ever, never once, wallahi, I swear to God, never once did I make this grill saying, oh, I can make this much money. Oh, charge them this much. We can make a lot of money. No, it's never that. You want to charge something that's reasonable, and it's never about how much profit I make. It's always only about, is the customer happy with what they got? And if they go to another jeweler, is that jeweler going to say, you paid how much? I could have got that cheaper. And now they mad at me because they feel like I ripped them off. That's usually what jewelers do. They a great jeweler till you go to another jeweler and price check. Then you find out you be getting robbed this whole time. So, I don't never want to be that guy you price checking and you feel like I robbed you. So, that's how I conduct my grills business. That's a little insight to how I conduct my grills business. But when I knew immediately, like, oh man, this song is going to be a billboard for us. I'm on the song. This is a billboard for us selling grills. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be great for us. But I remember Nelly saying, I got this verse. And then he said, man, I asked Mike Jones to get on it, but he was too busy. He couldn't get down here. And I was like, damn, man, that's crazy. And the crazy thing, is because I was too busy as well. I just found a way to make it work, and it just so happened to work. And for whatever reason, Mike Jones couldn't. But we could have had a Mike Jones verse on Grillz. This is one of those hip hop what ifs. You know what I'm saying? You see this all the time when you see somebody's song and you're like, oh, this person had the beat first, but they just didn't put it out. And then this person get it, and then now it's, whatever. What if? But anyway, Nelly ended up. Then he was like, yeah, I got Big Gip, I got Ali. They got a group they're doing together. I'm thinking about putting them on it and having them split the verses, which is what he ended up doing. And I'm just happy to be on there. And then when we shot the video, I got married October 23rd, 2005. We shot the video October 22nd, 2005. So I go down there to shoot the video. It's one of them things where I either come down here to do the video or I'm not in the video. The video getting shot either way. It's either I come down here and I'm in the video or I'm not in the video. So me and Johnny, we went down there, got in the video. Also, I know what it is. If I ain't in the video, Johnny might not get the same amount of screen time, you know what I'm saying? But if I'm in the video, then of course Johnny gonna get his screen time. So it's it's also a business play for my business. It's like my business. I know what that means if my business is front and center, worldwide on a Nelly song, you know what I'm saying? So this is crazy to me. So I'm like, okay, I gotta make it, but I can't miss this wedding. If I miss the wedding, my fiance gonna leave me. So we making it work, but it's like one of the things where it's like, all right, the flight leave at, 6:30. I gotta leave it. That's the last flight. I gotta leave here at 5 to get there by 6 because it's 5 o'clock traffic. This is, you know what I'm saying? What if it's an accident? What if we get man, if you got a plan for this, I cannot stay later than 5 o'clock. When that last take goes, I can't do another take. That's the last take or I'm gonna miss my wedding, So anyway, we get to that point and they're like, hey, let's go here. We're gonna go here. Hey, Paul, come over here. We're gonna do this, that. And I was like, I can't, I gotta leave. And everybody, Nelly, Jermaine Dupri, all of them like, man, you leaving? Where you going? I said, man, I gotta fly out. And then whoever, the director's assistant, whoever, label assistant, oh yeah, Paul, I was getting married tomorrow. They're like, what? You getting married tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting married. And they like, first of all, they like, damn, we would have came to the wedding. You should have let us know. But they also like, man, Boy, you really should have let us know because we would have threw you the world's greatest bachelor party of all time. And remember, Tip Drill just came out. So you know what I'm saying? Tip Drill would have been my bachelor. That would have been my bachelor party. It's probably better I didn't go. You know what I'm saying? I don't want no bachelor party regrets that's going to, pop up later. 20 years later, somebody writing a tell-all book and my wife want to leave me. You know what I'm saying? Because she found out I cheated on her at my bachelor party the night before we got married. So, but still, it's one of those things like, damn, boy, that would have been a hell of a bachelor party. Even for me, it's good enough knowing they would have did it. You know what I'm saying? That's good enough for me. So then it's like, yeah, Nelly, Jermaine Free, they was about to throw me the illest bachelor party of all time. But, I made it to my wedding and got married. Thank God I've been blessed 20 years of marriage. But we shot the video the day before my wedding. So it was, recording the song and shooting the video is one of them things where it's like, damn, I'll never forget. And I can pinpoint the exact day or when it is, but big shout out to Nelly. Huge shout out to Nelly.
I had Joel's on the platform, and he was telling me about his lean edition, right? And he told me that you was the one that introduced him to lean. Your lean edition. What led to you getting hooked on lean?
I was drinking it through, it was just kind of it got introduced to me through Houston guys. Paul Wall, my man Paul Wall, a couple of the guys from Houston. You know what I'm saying?
I feel bad about that now, of course, you know what I'm saying? It's something, but yeah, I did, man. But I mean, at the time, you know what I'm saying? We all drink, we all drinking. And you look at people that drink, and people that drink, they're not crackheads. We're not breaking in people's houses, selling your mama TV, pawning it to buy a drink. Drink wasn't even that expensive back then. So you wouldn't even do that to get, drink was cheap as hell back in those days. So, but even people that was like full on long-term addicts, the issues they had with, they were too big, overweight from the lifestyle that came with sipping drink. Not exercising, eating fattening foods, drinking soda left and right all day, drinking sugar or adding sugar, this and that, so it was not directly from the drink, but indirectly from the drink. And all of that was all something that's like manageable to some extent, you know what I'm saying? When we drinking it and he like, man, what you drinking? I'm like, this is a drink, and he like, yeah, I heard of that. That's what it is. Let me try that. And, he sipping, he like, yeah, this what's up. And then next time I see him, he got a whole full-on bottle. He like, yeah, I found somebody who got it. And it's like, damn, that's what's up. But, of course, you never know, how it's going to affect different people or, what I'm saying, how people are going to, immerse themselves in it. Some people, it's harder for others. It leads to other things. It definitely affects your lifestyle change. And then with a lot of times with it, the sipping drink leads to popping pills, and the pills is what really fucks you up. So really, like, I don't mean to like defend drink, but it's like, to me, it's like the drink ain't the issue. It's just the drink is the gateway to what is the issue, but I definitely feel terrible about, what I'm saying? I ain't want to even put it in my music. When I'm talking about it in my music, I'm not saying that for people to abuse it. You know what I'm saying? I honestly I didn't think people could abuse cough syrup, because even though they say, oh, this person died of syrup, no, they didn't. They died of drug overdoses or other shit that was in their body, not from the syrup. If right now, if I take some fentanyl and I'm also sipping syrup, the syrup didn't kill me, it's the fentanyl. If I go get in a car accident, but I got syrup in my bloodstream, yeah, I got syrup in my bloodstream. Yes, on the coroner's report, I do got syrup in my bloodstream, but the syrup didn't kill me. It's the car accident. So the hip hop icons that we think of, Pimp C, Big Mo, DJ Screw, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who's getting offended or taking it if they do, but to me, they didn't die from the syrup. They died from the lifestyle or the other drugs that came along with the syrup being a gateway drug. Pimp C, the doctor said you got sleep apnea. The doctor told him, you can ask Shannar Butler, his wife. This is what she told me. If you don't sleep with your CPAP machine, you're gonna die. Guess what? When he was dead, he didn't have his machine. This is what the doctor told him. So yeah, he has syrup in his body as well as other stuff in his body, but the syrup is what always get the blame. Same with DJ Screw. He had syrup in his blood. He had other stuff in his body too, but the syrup is what get the blame. Big Mo, yeah, he had syrup in his body, but he also was morbidly obese. You know, even me, before I lost weight, I had surgery to save me. The surgery saved me. If I wouldn't have had the surgery, I would be probably dead now, because I was morbidly obese as well. I was 350 plus on the scale. The scale saying to be continued for real when I'm stepping on that mother. I was big as all outdoors on that scale. So, man, the surgery saved my life. And, you know, I'm going down the same path, but what is causing me to be overweight? Even if I'm eating grilled fish and rice and drinking water and no sugar and no carbohydrates, you know, for a year at a time, and I'm working out, exercising, man, I done drunk so much syrup, I done sipped so much alcohol, even in the cycle of taking diet pills to lose it. The first maybe 5 cycles of losing weight with diet pills, it works. But then when you gain it back and you use diet pills long term, man, they don't work no more. And now your metabolism is all fucked up. Your hormones ain't working right. Everything is just not working. So it really damn near was impossible for me to lose weight. If I wouldn't have surgery, I probably for sure would be dead right now. So, but it's the lifestyle that gets me into that. I can sip syrup. It's all good. All I got to do is take some diet pills and exercise and go on a little routine real quick. I can drop 20, 30, 40 pounds. I'm going to have to work for it to lose it, but I can drop it. And, you know, but then once you can't drop that weight no more and you stuck with it, it's like, damn, what do I do? I can't lose this weight. I got this drink belly that just won't go away. You know, this was it's a stance. It's the South Side stance where you got your feet, I don't know, is that bow-legged or pigeon toe when your feet go out like a W. With your feet out like that and you got your belly poking out at the bottom, and you ain't trying to poke it out, but you got that drink belly that just poke out because it's swollen. It's actually swollen. You're swollen from the inside. It swells you up from the inside. But that's the South Side stairs where you got that drink belly and your feet to the side. What's up, baby? It's the H-Town drink belly. So, I mean, that's the worst. I can imagine when you think of somebody, if you abuse drink to the worst possible degree, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to have a belly that you just can't get rid of. You know what I'm saying? But, that in terms of that's my thinking. You know, that was my thinking. But now I realize, well, the drink lead to other things. You know, it might lead to pills, or it might lead to this or that, or people putting shit in the drink. Back in our days when we was sipping drink, if they want to sell you some fake drink, they put some K-Roll cough syrup in the drink. Man, they don't do shit to you but make you have diarrhea and give you the runs. It's sweet as hell. It don't do shit to you but give you the runs. It's not going to kill you. So if somebody's like, you know, cutting the drink and you got some fake drink, it ain't gonna kill you. You just ain't gonna lean. It's gonna still taste the same. You just ain't gonna lean. Well, now, what are they doing? They putting all kind of shit. I mean, hey, they cutting drink with all kind of shit now where you actually might die now, you know? So, I mean, my views and feelings on sipping syrup, sipping drink, you know, they with the era of my era of sipping drink. You know, the era today, I don't consider this like my era of sipping. Do I sip drink? On rare occasions, I still do. But I mean, it's really for the NBA players now, for the athletes who got that type of means to buy it, because you got to be a dope fiend to sip it nowadays. You spend $1,000 on a cup, guy, especially how we wasn't sipping a half a line in our days, man. We was sipping 4. Man, you know, we was sipping a 4 ounce in 1 cup. And a 20 ounces of 4 in there. Now it's a half a line in a 20 ounce or 1 line in a 20 ounce, and you share that with somebody else. Like, man, say that wasn't our era. This is a different era now. You know what I'm saying? And it's made different. It tastes different. It makes you feel different. You know, is it my birthday? Is somebody gonna offer me a cup and they somebody out, this my drinking partner, my mud buddy? Then yeah, I might have a cup. You know what I'm saying? Or it's somebody else's birthday and they're like, man, Paul, I come have a cup. T. Farris' birthday. Say, hey man, I got some mean cold cup waiting on you, man. Where you at? Yeah, I'm gonna pull up on it. We're gonna have that cup. But it's gonna be like on rare certain occasions, and it's gonna be hey, when this cup gone, it's gone, and I'm gonna see you again next year. You know, but it's definitely a different. The drink game is definitely very different these days. So, man, can you die from it now? Absolutely. But people wouldn't put no fentanyl in drink and all that kind of shit, and crushing up Xanax and putting other shit in drink, you know, and making you think it's drink because it's some fake drink to begin with. They wasn't doing that in our era. They was putting K-Roll cough syrup. So the worst that was gonna happen to you was you wasn't gonna lean. You was just gonna have the runs from having the K-Roll cough syrup. But yeah, man, it's you know, there's been a few people like that where, you know, I didn't maybe know it at the time, but I learned through either them giving interviews or, them even telling me on their journey to be sober, you know what I'm saying? Or them telling me like that I was the one that introduced them to drink. And of course I feel terrible about that. I don't want to be, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the person that, turns somebody on to something that turns into something they abuse. Even I was abusing it absolutely too. That's what a lot of us, like what we defend ourselves to displace the blame with. It ain't my fault. I was an addict too. But I mean, at the same time, that don't absolve me from whatever guilt I feel. I still feel terrible. I don't want to make somebody, use this and then they go from this to pills or they go from this to something else or whatever. I don't want to be a part of none of that. Because when we drinking it, it's to, feel good. We drinking it either for the taste to begin with or for good vibes, to feel good, something like that. Of course, it turned into abuse. But man, I got a complicated relationship with drink, man. I got a very complicated relationship with cough syrup.
When was the last time you had lean?
This year, 2025, probably my birthday, March 2025. I don't know if I had it since then. Usually there's a few occasions we'll have it. It'll be like on anniversaries of certain people's deaths. Or it'll be like
But clearly you know how to handle it though.
I mean, I don't know. I personally never, I don't know. I grew up with a biological father who was addicted to heroin. So, my version of an addict is different than maybe what the textbook definition is. So, I don't know. So, in my mind, it's almost impossible to be an addict of drink, kind of, because the addict to me is the crackhead or somebody who's on smack or something like that. On one of these, a fentanyl zombie or something where they just standing there full up and they sleep. Like, that's a different definition of an addict. Or alcoholic. My biological father also was an alcoholic. So I grew up going to Al-Anon, Alateen, all of these things where you're a family member of somebody who's addicted to alcohol, or Narcanon or whatever it's called, where you're a family member of somebody who's addicted to narcotics. So I always grew up with knowledge of what it was. I was scared of alcohol growing up my whole life, or any type of narcotic drug, anything, period. I didn't take medicine at all. If I'm sick, I ain't taking medicine, no. Because in my mind, if I take that medicine, the next step is I'm shooting my arm up, with heroin. So, I don't have no memories. The people talk about high school parties where they're drinking and isn't. I ain't never experienced that. I didn't want to, maybe it's because I didn't want to be around it, but I didn't know nobody in my high school that was drinking and having these parties where they getting fucked up and all of that. Nah. I know, look, we didn't partake in it. I know people who, would go steal beer and sell it. I knew people who sold drugs when we was in high school and junior high and all of that, or, was also, I'm not trying to say like we was like perfect or goody two shoes or this and that. I'm just saying when it came to partaking of any type of substance, we ain't do that. Cause the next step was you a crackhead. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't do none of that. So even drinking alcohol was like, man, I don't even want to know how it tastes. I'm not even curious. Cause it might taste good. And I don't want it to taste good. I don't want to look like that person I see over there who's lost their job and they ain't got no teeth and they beating their wife every day and whatever situation. I don't want to be that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be the boss, the player. I want to be the, you know what I'm saying? Not the addict. So for me, when it comes to cough syrup, people not leaving their wife because they addicted to cough syrup, or wives ain't leaving their husbands because of cough syrup. People ain't using their Christmas money to, for their kids or to go buy cough syrup instead of buying their kids, the G.I. Joe for Christmas or something. You know what I'm saying? Or people ain't pawning their jewelry and their TVs. People ain't breaking in houses, stealing radio, breaking in cars, stealing radios, pawning them to get a cup of syrup. So, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, it's like, it's hard for me to really grasp the damage that it can do because I'm so busy defending it in my own mind. Because it's a recreational drug. It's what we do for fun. Like we do this to lean and feel good. You know what I'm saying? And we don't do this to turn into crackheads. You know what I'm saying? But it's serious. Like I say, I blind myself with it when you know the damage it can do when one lead to another and this lead to another. Or like my homeboy Big Mix. Man, he sipped drink every day of his life and he was big as all outdoors. He's a huge person I have a huge regret for I didn't get to share my story or encourage him to have the weight loss surgery that I had, because it for sure would have saved his life. And he's somebody who at the time, he was, you know, my big homie. So I would, and he's big. So it's like, you know, big weight wise, like, man, I got to tell him about this. But you don't want to offend somebody. But you know, when you big and your brother big, your homeboy big too, you know, they going through it too. You know, they going through you got to pull your shirt out to the crease in your belly all the time when you just standing up still. You standing up. I'm doing it sitting down is one thing. But when you standing up and you got the crease in your belly, you like, man, that stand-up crease is serious. So, you know, I know this struggle of being overweight, being morbidly obese, you know, where it's delicate. You know, I don't want to offend somebody. Also, some people like, man, I didn't want to get no weight loss surgery. I thought that was like, I might as well be getting like a breast implant or something. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, because men, what surgery do men have like that? Where it's like, I don't know, aesthetic wise. Men didn't do that. And if you did, you was a housewife or something. You know what I'm saying? That's like what society told me. So when it comes to getting weight loss surgery, I'm like, man, I ain't gonna do that. It took somebody I know who's one of the biggest like gangsters, like real literal gangsters that I know in the world to motivate me to get this. Cause he was overweight from sip and drink. And he was like, hey man, I heard about getting this one surgery. He brought to me the idea of getting a lap band. That's not what I got. I got the gastric sleeve. But he was like, hey man, they got this thing called the lap band. I'm thinking about getting it, man. I'm kind of nervous. What you think? And I'm like, I don't even know how to respond to that, because man, he a gangster. If I respond the wrong way, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? So man, you getting that way? What girls get that? You know, like or some shit like that. I don't know. Then he, you know, I don't know. So I don't know what to say, but I'm like, damn, I don't know. I might need it too, because I'm bigger than you are. So if you getting it, I probably for sure need it. And he like, well, you know, let's go to the thing together. So me and him went to the consultation together, and then, you know, I went there. It cost like $15,000. But if you got insurance, at the time I had insurance. I don't have insurance now. At the time I had insurance. And because my mom was a teacher. Shout out to all the teachers out there with that good insurance. My mom was a teacher and my grandfather was in the military. So we kept us some insurance at the time. But the insurance told me, if you go through this cycle, you do A, B, C, D, E, and F, G, and it's going to take you 6 months. But if you do that, you know, we'll pay for it. Or the surgery will be a lot less than the $15,000. So I'm like, yeah, you gonna pay for it? I'll do that. So he put me on a diet regimen, a workout regimen. You gotta go see the doctor every week, this and that, do this and that, whatever, all kind of stuff. I did all that. I came in 6 months later. I'm the same weight, maybe even more than I was 6 months previous. And they like, nah, well, for whatever reason, we're not gonna approve the surgery. So I'm like, but that bitch $15,000. I'm looking at it like, okay. And the doctor did tell you, he told me, if you're 50 pounds overweight, then it takes 15 years off of your life. 15 years off of your life. And the surgery, $15,000. So I looked at it as, well, if I get this surgery, I'm buying 15 years of life. And it's $1,000 a year. And it's just an early investment. Just like if you buy early, if you invest early, you get in good. But if I'm 80 years old and in a hospital bed and I can't move, man, it ain't over $1,000 a year then. Then it might be $1 million a year. You know, you gotta go to some cryogenic therapy, something, you know. That's when it's all the conspiracy theories are going on, or this or that, you know, that's when that going on. But so I'm like, okay, I'm just buying my stock in my body, and I'm buying early. It's $1,000 a year. All right, let me do it. So I took that step, did it, man. And I went and did it. And the doctor who I went to do it with, in Houston, he was like, man, you know what? The lap band is not what you need. You need the gastric sleeve. He told me the differences about it. And he was like, man, this is what you need right here. And I got that. And it changed my life, saved my life. My only regret is I didn't do it sooner. My only regret, I didn't do it sooner. And so my boy Big Mix, being somebody who, you know, was big, you know, it started getting on my mind, like people I knew personally who, I don't mean just people that were fat. You know, if you're just fat or you're just like, you know, 20 pounds overweight, they won't even let you have the surgery, even if you pay for it. They won't give it to you.
Yeah, just
take
your ass to the gym.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna say, nah. They're gonna be like, nah, bro, this ain't, you know, just cut carbohydrates out of your diet for 2 months and you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Because the average person doesn't need a surgery. The surgery is for people who, this is their last result. where I was morbidly obese. So I'm thinking about people in my life that I know, that I care about, or just that I know, period, like that are morbidly obese, that I know from looking at, you're my height or shorter, and you're bigger than me or around the same size. Like I ain't gotta, we wear the same size shirt. I know we about the same weight, So it's like one of the things where I would just tell people about it. Not like I'm trying to sell people on it or pressure them or push them into it, because one, everybody can't afford $15,000. You know what I'm saying, to do that. Also, everybody can't have the what comes behind the aftercare. I got a wife and family that supported me, that helped me on every single day take care of that. Everybody don't have that. So, also everybody has other obligations. They don't have a job like I have, where I can, have the surgery and it doesn't affect my job. You might have the surgery and you got to go to work on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So everybody don't have the same options as me. But, it was on my mind that, man, look, I got to at least share that this worked, because it worked for me. And if I would have knew this, all I had to do was get this surgery, man, I'd have been looking good years earlier. You know what I'm saying? I would have been feeling good years earlier. I'd have been able to breathe. I've been able to, have a single seat belt on the airplane when you got to get the seat belt extension. Say, man, or when you don't even want to ask for it no more, so you kind of steal it on accident. Oh, I forgot to give it back. Just so I got it now the next time I fly, and I don't got to embarrass myself and ask for it. Hey, you got the seatbelt extension, and everybody around you like, damn, you fat. Like, that should be embarrassing, man. So I know that struggle, you know what I'm saying? So, man, knowing I could have alleviated all of that, and I could have been playing Powerball, you know what I'm saying, getting the man out of bed. So I got a bunch of homies, man, but my regret on that is not going to my big homie, Big Mix, because he ended up dying of heart failure or something, along those lines. But it was due to him being overweight, due to his, lifestyle and his overweight. But, man, that drink will put them pounds on you, man, and they hard to come off.
From your point of view, when you see all these people that's not from Houston doing lean, what do you think they doing wrong? Because, we got all these overdose and everything, so.
In my mind, I don't want to sound like a dope fiend, but in my mind, there's no wrong way to sip drink. There's no wrong way to sip drink. But I'll tell you this though. You ask Lil Kiki or my drink mentors, you ask them, they're very opinionated about, the right and wrong way to sip drink. You know what I'm saying? But it's evolved, you know what I'm saying? So it just is what it is. I don't know. Me personally, I've never in my life put a Jolly Rancher in my cup of drink. Even though a lot of people, they say that's how people drink, or they think that's how I drink. I've never once ever put a Jolly Rancher in my cup of drink. I don't even like Jolly Ranchers. I never like, like candy like that, sweets like that. I never been like a big fan of sweets, so I never put Jolly Ranchers or anything similar in my cup of drink. You know what I'm saying? Also, there's the go-to mixes of what you mix it with, but it's just like anything. You put, vodka in Coke is gonna taste different than vodka and Sprite or 7-Up or vodka, but if you're a vodka drink, you're a drink, But you a lot of times it's like, Hennessy and Coke, that goes together, not vodka and Coke. But that's just in your mind. I don't know if there's a science to that, because I know people that drink Hennessy mixed with all kind of shit, and I know people. My homeboy used to drink Hennessy and 7-Up every fucking day, and he put it in a microwave and heat it up. You know what I'm saying? So to each their own. A lot of times we do what we told to do. So if we hear it in a song, then we think that's how we do it. But maybe they did it that way because that was the only drink they had to mix it with. So they mixed it with that and they never looked back, or whatever. Same with the double cup. The double cup wasn't like, that's something that was more of an aesthetic that came like kind of later on. For me, we would have double cups, but it'd be for different reasons. You pour it in a cup and pour. Sometimes you wouldn't mix the drink in your soda, because if you mix it in your soda, it would bust. Or you got to pour out too much of your soda and then you got less soda left. So you pour a little bit in your soda, or you pour your drink in your soda and you mix it back and forth for 2 cups. Now the problem with that is sometimes the drink do like leave a little residue on the walls of the cup, and you don't want to waste none of the drink, So there's the issue with that. But You know, so there would be that, and then you got 2 cups, and then boom, now you got 2 cups, and you drink out of your 2 cups. Or if you riding and smoking in your car, then, you know, you might ash this and that. The ash might get on your cup. Oh, you burned a hole in the bottom of your cup somehow. You put your cup down on the ash and it burned a hole, so put another cup. That's like a double cup by accident situation. But I mean, the styrofoam cup kind of was the more the look. But even then, the styrofoam didn't do anything specific, didn't give it a better flavor. You know, if you drink out of a Yeti cup, the Yeti is gonna be colder than a styrofoam. So, you know, a lot of like real drink sippers today they wouldn't even touch a styrofoam cup. They drinking out of Yeti. Also, like I said, the styrofoam will eat up the residue of the drink. The Yeti, whatever the Yeti is, don't do that. So you're not gonna have no drink residue on your Yeti cup, and it's gonna keep it ice cold. Your ice ain't gonna be melted, so it's watered down. That shit gonna be super ice cold. So shit, the real drink sippers that really drink it, not just to be cool, they drinking it in ways for them. But the styrofoam cups, the double cups, I mean, that's what they sold when you go to get a cup of ice out of the store. They sell a styrofoam cup of ice, either already made in the freezer, and you grab the cup of ice, or you get a cup, and instead of getting your fountain soda, you get just a cup of ice, and you buy a cup of ice. So that's why we drinking out of styrofoam cups, because that's what the store sold. Just like when they stop selling styrofoam and they go to the community coffee cups, yeah, we'll drink out of that. Yeah, we will double cup those because they'll get watered out, and they'll get, like, you know, the integrity of the cup will, you know what I'm saying, be bad. And then all of a sudden your cup about to bust because it's real thin. So we will double cup those for a purpose, because you want the cup to be stronger. But, you know, like a regular concessions soda cup that's not styrofoam, those things they busting all day long from, we wouldn't double cup those because they was way too thin. You know what I'm saying? Only the community cups, the community coffee cups, we would double cup those. But so, you know, it never was only styrofoam cup. That became like the icon or the symbol for drink sippers. Like, oh, we a drink sipper. But I mean, we real drink sippers. So, man, we don't want to get pulled over by the police or something, and they like, hey, oh, where's your double cup? Or where's your white cup? Oh, okay, yeah, we know you got served. What do you mean? This is coffee, officer. What are you talking about? You know, we might just sip our drink out of a Starbucks cup. You know what I'm saying? So we trying to hide it. We ain't trying to spotlight it like it's the Batman signal to the whole world. Hey, everybody, we sip drink. Man, fuck no. Also, you get caught sipping drink and, man, you know, they going to the doctor. They shutting the doctor down now. Now, no, we can't sip drink because some dumbass put it on Instagram Live and they got their bottle without the doctor name scratched off. And now everybody know that's the doctor that's prescribing drink. So they going to the doctor, shutting the doctor down. Now we ain't got no drink because of this dumb motherfucker on Instagram Live. So, you know, it's certain things like we were real drink sippers. We ain't do that. You know what I'm saying? We even when we would talk about mentioning the brand names of the drink, nobody gave a fuck. The companies didn't. We saying bar left and right. Bar for Menzime, our farmer. We saying 11. Nobody gave a fuck. We see even actors when I was around. Nobody cared. They didn't care until Justin Bieber got caught sipping drink, and when he had a bottle of Actavis in his house, and the police went in there because he was egging his neighbor's house, and they went in there to see if he had the same eggs or some shit, and they found a bottle of drink. And now it's all over the TMZ, the news everywhere, that Justin Bieber got cough syrup. That's when activists say, we don't care if the rapper's doing it. But if Justin Bieber doing it, this has influenced a different type of generation. They don't want the Justin Bieber fan. They don't care if the rap fans drink it, but they don't want the Justin Bieber fans drinking it. So that's when that's when they shut down all operation of of making Actavis, and that's when all these other brands popped up and this and that, and they make it the same, but it's different, so it tastes different and feel different. All of that is just different, but it is what it is. But you know, when it comes to other people sipping drink, I mean, you gotta do what work for you. I mean, I'll never forget when me and Zero, you know, he had he was getting some teeth done or something. He had to go to the dentist, so he couldn't drink soda because there's too much sugar in the soda. Now, there's tons of sugar in that drink. You did as well. But, you know, he couldn't drink no soda. So he's like, man, I went to, you know, we drinking together. We somewhere doing something. He like, hey, man, my bad. You gonna have to mix up on your own today, or we drinking out of what I'm drinking? And I'm like, well, what you drinking? He's like, man, don't laugh at me. It's apple juice. And I'm like, shit, let's try it. Because when we be drinking too, sometimes you go to the store, they out of this soda. So, all right, let's try something new. Out of that soda. All right, let's try something new. And we was drinking at a time when that shit wasn't $100 an ounce. We was drinking look, Lil Kiki did a song, In These Streets, where he say, in the last couple months, it's been 100 a foe. That's $25 an ounce. $100 for a foe. That's 25. He was on his verse complaining about how high the drink prices were. He was complaining, and it was $25 an ounce. So we was drinking when it was $25 for a foe. 4 ounces was $25. That's when we was drinking it. So you wasn't thinking about wasting it if you mix it with the soda and it don't taste. We would mix it with champagne, mix it with beer. We didn't even drink beer, but we wonder what it tastes like. You see a Bud Light commercial. Let's go get some Bud Light and try it. Budweiser or whatever. What's up? Any of them commercials. Hey, let's go get that. Let's see what it tastes like. You know, we didn't even drink that, but we wanted to see what it would taste like. We just would carry it. We was drink heads. So shit, that's what we would do. And it was cheap enough to where you're not, you know, so that's where we came from. So when Zero at this point when Zero telling me this, the prices didn't been up there. But I'm telling you this to say, we didn't have some crazy drink combinations that you never would have expected that tastes magnificent. So shit, well, Zero say, man, you might think I'm crazy, but man, this apple juice hitting right here. And let me try that. Let me say, I never would have even crossed my mind to mix it with a juice like that. You know what I'm saying? We was only mixing it with sodas or something that was carbonated. Really just only thing we was mixing drink with was sodas and champagne. You know, nothing else. So I didn't even know you could mix it with like a juice or a Gatorade or something. So that led me down a whole nother path of any of the non-carbonated drinks, a tea, whatever. Let me try it. Let me see what it tastes like. You know, some of them taste good. Some of them taste amazing, but none of them taste bad. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm drinking that apple juice, even that apple juice tastes amazing. So whatever you mix it with worldwide, I mean, I'm not gonna say you doing it wrong. If that's how you doing it, the only wrong way to do it is if you drinking fake drink where you know you're drinking something that's not what you think you're drinking. So you think you're getting something that's pharmaceutical and you're getting something that somebody made in their garage. You know, that's the difference in, that's where it's like, I mean, I don't know, I'm like normalizing being a drug addict and making it okay, but it's really, that's what it is. When you buy it from the pharmacy, it's regulated. So you know what you're drinking. But when you buy it from somebody who you don't necessarily know, or they mixed it with something that they mixed up it ain't the K-Roll cough syrup no more. I mean, it ain't the K-Roll pancake syrup no more. Now it's, other shit that they wouldn't give a fuck if it put me in the hospital or not. Because in their mind, ain't no way you can prove it came from me. That's how it is in their mind. But I mean, the drink game is definitely crazy, especially with them high prices, especially with not knowing where it's coming from originally. Also, it not tasting the same. Also, it being so expensive, you ain't sipping a four. You know what I'm saying? A four drink now, this shit's gonna be a house note. Shit. But it's that's why I say it'd be like rare occasions. You know what I'm saying? When I still sip it. It'll usually be, like I said, usually once a year, a couple times a year. T. Farrell's birthday, my birthday, a couple other people I don't want to say their birthdays, you know what I'm saying, or anniversaries of deaths, or when our homeboy's in jail, he come out, he been locked up, man, hey, we drinking, shit like that, but it'll only be social special occasions. So I'm only a part-time dope fiend now. I'm only a part-time drug addict.
You knew Screw?
I met Screw, but I mean, I would definitely be reaching to say I knew Screw. Screw did not know me. Let's put it that way. Hell yeah, I knew Screw. But Screw did not know me, I don't think. I met him on several occasions. At that time, he was the biggest icon of hip hop there was for me. This was the godfather of hip hop. He wasn't a record label. He was a creator who birthed, my favorite artists in a style of music that inspired me this is why I fell in love with hip hop, was because of DJ Screw and his style of music. So my first times listening to Screw tapes, and I don't know what year it was, but it was like the early 90s, 90, 2, 3, 4, 5, somewhere up in there, definitely before 94. I for sure know that. But, before that, listening to screw tapes, 92, this is, I'm 11 years old. So I was born in 81. So this is, you hear music on the radio, but you don't really kind of know what it is. And my mom was listening to all kind of like music that wasn't necessarily hip hop, but she was listening to a wide variety of music, whether it was, she listened to a lot of Motown. So, and a lot of Marvin Gaye, a lot of Roberta Flack, a lot of Sade. And then she listened to a lot of gospel and Christian music, anything Christian music, gospel music. So if we in the car, we listening to the gospel or Christian radio station. And when she got out the car to do something, I'm putting it on the rap radio station or something. I changed it, man, I'm put on something else. And then she put up, but I'm 11 years old. What I'm listening with the hip hop I'm listening to is screw music. That's my introduction to hip hop. When somebody riding down the street, it's somebody jamming a screw tape. When my neighbors got a tape player playing and they playing music, they listening to screw tapes. So whatever music was on the screw tape, that was my introduction to hip hop. So for screw, like meeting screw is like you meeting a mob boss or something, you know what I'm saying? Or like, it's like, I still remember my times meeting Jay Prince. It's the same way. Like, man, this is an icon that gave careers that if they didn't have careers, I wouldn't have a career. You know what I'm saying? These are people that are still the GOATs, and Scarface still one of the greatest of all time of all artists of hip hop, you know what I'm saying, ever. So, you know what I'm saying? So meeting these type of people, meeting DJ Screw is like, man, I don't want to embarrass myself, you know what I'm saying? But also, I don't want to look like a little punk or something, even though I was like a little kid, you know what I'm saying? I probably was a little punk, you know what I'm saying? I'm 13 years old, coming up to him, trying to hand him a flyer or some shit. He's like, who the hell is you? You know what I'm saying? Kind of probably in his mind, he probably thinking that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just a little kid. I don't want to, but I never forget. I used to do a lot of street promotions back in those days. Shout out to my boy Ace, my boy 5-4, my boy Lump. All people I worked for who had the main account. They were adults. I was like the little annoying teenager who was like too young to be hanging around, and they telling me, you're too young to be around us. You need to go home. Go to school. Go do your chores. What are you doing? And I'm like, nah, give me a job. Just give me a chance. And they're like, nah, you way too young you can't even get in the club. You're 13, 14. How you gonna even get to the club? What are you talking about? And somehow I found a way to get there. And the next thing you know, I'm doing the leg work or some of the leg work. I'm not doing all by all means, but I'm doing my fair share for, Lump, who did all of, Cash Money Records, or, 5-4, who did, No Limit Records with Mean Green, or Ace, who did all Def Jam. You talking about that was hip hop in the 90s. That was hip hop. So for me to be, these are the Houston, or not even the Houston, these are the regional reps who handle these accounts. Lump also handled Priority. They all handled other shit too, but I'm just saying like the main shit was what they handled. So for me to be able to have access to the vinyl of these artists. You can't go to the store to buy this vinyl. The only way you get the vinyl is to service it to the DJs. And they're the ones servicing it. So I'm now the one who has to take it to this club to bring it to the DJ. Otherwise, the DJ don't have it. And then I got to go to that club and that club and that club. And there's a list of 100 DJs where you didn't even know it was 100 DJs in the city. But there's more than that. And you got to go to every single one of them and bring them the vinyl, because if you don't bring them the vinyl, they're not going to have a record. And everybody needs the record because the single is dropping officially, in stores on cassette, whatever Monday, and they need it now on vinyl. So that's me. I'm tracking this DJ down, finding them. And, Tuesday at noon, he's, doing something random. And then this other DJ Thursday at, 7:00, he's getting ready to go DJ somewhere. So I got to go catch him before he goes way over here, go out of town or whatever. So it was a whole lot of that. I'm doing all of that at an age where I definitely was too young to be doing it. And, I'm doing it for these, I'm definitely showing my worth, proving my worth for these people. But that's how I got my own access to the vinyl. Otherwise, I would have never had this vinyl. I wanted to be a DJ, but at that time I wasn't, so I couldn't even you can't even buy the vinyl. So the only way to have it is I work for the company that services the DJs. And that's how I became a DJ, because I always wanted to be a DJ, but I never really had the opportunity. Nobody go, you want to be a DJ? Oh, well, here you go. Here's the turntables and records and speakers and the needles and the mixer and everything and the wires, and here's how to set it up and work it. And here you go, boom. Nah, that ain't how it works. You got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Or you got to tag along and pick up the hints here and there of what to do. And that's That's how I built up my record collection as a DJ to start DJing, was by working for them. That's how I learned the game of how to promote, how to market, was for working for them. So, you know what I'm saying? In those days, you know, I would get a little opportunities, you know, to be a part of the Houston music industry, little by little, piece by piece. So when I would see like a DJ Screw at a record store, you know, he might be going there to put up a poster for something, or maybe to pick up something, or he might be going to buy a record itself for the new record that came out because he want to chop and screw it on his new mixtape, you know, or something. Or so, you know, I definitely seen DJ Screw in different record stores here and there, or, you know, at the clubs when I'm out there passing out my flyers. You know, I'm working for Def Jam. I'm like, he definitely looking like, who is this little kid? You know, and I didn't technically work for Def Jam. I interned or apprenticed for somebody who worked for Def Jam. You know what I'm saying? Just to be factual, you know, I wasn't on the payroll. I was way too young. But, you know, I had my shot, and I still made it where I still got paid, you know, one way or another. You know, I still got my pay. And that's how I would meet a lot of DJs too, or people who probably otherwise wouldn't give a damn about me. But, you know, I mean, maybe they would. I don't mean to like put them in a bad light, but I'm just saying it to say that I wasn't nobody to give a care about. You know what I'm saying? I was just another person who wished they could rap, you know, or wanted to have a dream job of rapping. But when I'm handing you the vinyl of, you know, the new Jay-Z song, Jay-Z's on Def Jam, and he's the hottest artist in the world, and I got his new single, and the single, by the way, is limited because they didn't do a big run of it because they didn't know it was going to blow up, but the underground made it blow up. Now it blew up, and they got less vinyl than they need, and it's hard to come by, and I got it. Well, now you're like, hey, Paul, where you at with that vinyl? Let me get that vinyl. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like the Grillz. Nobody cared about getting a verse from me, but they wanted Grillz from me. So yeah, they'll do a verse from me if I give them Grillz for a cheaper price. You know, but that's how it was. So I seen DJ Screw several times, man. And I would always go up to him like, hey, I gotta go up to him. I gotta go up to him and give him a fly. I gotta go up and do it. I gotta share the same oxygen. You know what I'm saying? Like we in the same zip code, but we gotta be like I gotta like say something, say what's up, you know. So I took every opportunity to do that, man. But I don't think he knew me though. He didn't know me.
Speaking of Jay-Z, you had any interaction with Jay?
Oh man, I have a few interactions with Jay-Z. My first interaction with him was with Drive Slow. When Drive Slow was on Kanye West's album, I mean, Jay-Z was the president of Def Jam. So Craig Kallman, who was, I don't know what his title, CEO, president, something of Atlantic that I was signed to, he talked them into letting me put Drive Slow on the People's Champ, my album. And Jay-Z cleared it. He said, yep, I'm gonna let you do that. Now at that time, they had a thing where I mean, I don't know, maybe they still have this, but if they would charge people, the labels would charge people. So of course they would, you know, they want to put Kanye West on my album. Well, Def Jam, Jay-Z, the one making the decision, Def Jam is charging my label to put him on my album. Not only do you got to pay the artist, but you got to clear it with the label. You got to pay the label too. So with that, with Jay-Z, at the time, he was the president. And they had a thing where, like I said, I don't know if they still do this, but they had a thing where if you're a gold artist and you have something that's went gold, then, you know, the fee is X amount of dollars. If you're a platinum artist, the fee is X amount of dollars. And if you're neither one of those, they have a tier of artists that no matter what, they won't clear it. No matter how much you pay, they're not going to clear it because I'm not in that tier. I'm not gold or platinum. So my debut major label album, The People's Champ, had Kanye West on it, but I'm not a major artist at that time. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm not a platinum or gold artist at that time. So their policy was they don't clear it, so it ain't on. But anyway, Jay-Z waived the fees, he waived all of that. He's like, only thing Jay-Z said was, man, the only thing I want you to do is pay Kanye West whatever he charges for a beat. I want you to pay him for that because he's letting you use the beat. So just to be fair, I'm not going to charge you a clearance fee for his verse, but to be fair for him, pay him what he wants for the beat. So we paid the beat. That's basically the same thing that happened with T.I. When T.I. did a song for me, he didn't charge me and they didn't charge me a clearance fee, but they said, "Hey, look, just pay the producer what he wants for the beat, whatever he was charging for the beat." So that's what we did with Kanye West. So my interaction with Jay-Z was him looking out for me, him clearing it, and then shortly thereafter at the MTV Music Awards, VMAs, I'm walking by and I see him, and I don't know if he knows who I am. You know what I'm saying? I'm assuming he don't have a clue who I am, because why would he? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I never thought I still to this day, I never think everybody knows who I am. Even if it's my concert and it's sold out, I'm showing up like, why is everybody here? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's your concert. You know, I don't know. It's just something about me. I don't know. But I just didn't assume, I didn't think he knew who I was. Like, man, he don't know who I am. Or like, so, but anyway, I'm still walk up to him and say, what's up? My boy, Johnny Nunez. I don't know if you know Johnny Nunez. He's a photographer. He's super famous photographer. And he was like, hey, Paul Wall, Jay-Z, hey, let me get a picture of y'all. Let me get a picture. And I'm like, hell yeah. Wait till my mama see this. I got a picture with Jay-Z. Wait till they see this in the hood. It ain't gonna be telling me nothing. I got a picture with Jay-Z. So I'll take a picture with Jay-Z, and he's snapping, he moves on, and then me and Jay-Z talking. Jay-Z like, hey, the first thing he say, hey, you know I looked out for you, right? You know you owe me, right? For that Jay-Z clearance. You know you owe me, right? And I'm like, say, bro, whenever you ready to collect, I got it waiting for you. Whatever I owe you. If I owe you money, whatever I owe you verses, you want me to do a verse for your artist or something? Not like he would want me to do a verse for him, but he might have just signed somebody to he was the president of Def Jam. Also at this time, Jay-Z was almost like quasi-retired as an artist. This is when he's going into he's a CEO. And he really was only doing verses for people that were signed to him, like Umbrella, like that, So at that time, he only doing verses for artists that signed to him. So I'm thinking maybe he want a verse for somebody. He just signed a up-and-coming artist. Also, there's strategies. A lot of people would know me as being from Texas. When they think of Texas, they would think of me. When they think of me, they think of Texas. So some people, labels, artists, whatever, they're trying to break into the Texas market. They'd say, hey, let's put Paul Wall on the song, because then, we can break into the Texas market, or not just me, it'd be other artists, there's other artists as well. You put one else on the song and it help break you into the market, help you get love in the market. So I'm thinking maybe he want that from me. I'm thinking maybe, Jay-Z he want me to do a couple features for the same way he looked out for me and put Kanye West on a Paul Wall song. Maybe he want me to put a Paul Wall verse on somebody else song, who he just signed, who's like lower and making on lower level, trying to make their way up, So I'm like, man, let me know. But I'm still waiting for him to call me on that favor, man. He ain't called me back on that one. But he's always showed me a lot of love. I mean, I've seen him several times, many other times. In the past, I got to, one of my favorite times was, when he was doing a show at Madison Square Garden. It was a huge show. I mean, everybody was there. Diddy was there. Dipset was there. Kanye West was there. It was all kind of huge major artists. And I think it was Jay-Z's concert. It might have been Jay-Z and Diddy, but I think it was, because I know Diddy had like a lot of performances like in it too. But Jay-Z, when he did his stuff, and then he brought Kanye West out, and then Kanye West brought me out to do Drive Slow. And it's like, man, damn, we in Madison Square Garden doing Drive Slow with Kanye West. Damn, at the Jay-Z show, so I've had a few occasions, and at that show, that was Jay-Z's show. So I remember they had like a dressing room for us, and we go in our dressing room, and they got like, Dom Perignon or whatever he was drinking at the time. I ain't never drunk that shit before, so I kept that shit, took it home. I flew that shit home. I ain't drinking. I'm not finna drink that shit backstage. Now I'm gonna take this shit home, put this shit in my. I'm sure everybody look what my boy Hove gave me. My boy Hove gave me this Dom P right. It's straight from Hove to your boy. You know what I'm saying? Even though we could go to the store and buy another one, still that's special. I still got that shit. You know what I'm saying? But matter of fact, that one I drunk. That one I drunk when my boy Omar died. I drunk that one. One of my homeboy, good best friend, man, he passed away. And he was a big Jay-Z fan. So I cracked that bottle and we drunk that one for his memory when he died. But But yeah, man, there's been other times I've seen Jay-Z, man. He always show, of course, Houston a lot of love. Houston artist, a lot of, you know, he's married to Beyonce. So, you know, her being from Houston, there's always that kind of connection of, man, you know, them being like the elite couple, you know, also being a couple in entertainment, me being a married man in entertainment, you know, even though my wife isn't necessarily a singer, you know what I'm saying, like that, even though she sing, but it's still like, you know, there's a lot of inspiration, a lot of motivation, a lot of, you know, you look up to how they handle their things, the situations, what he does, how he carries himself as a father, as a parent, you know, as a husband, all of that, you know, you see how you see how it's bigger than him. Everything he does is bigger than him, and it's not just being a player and, you know, all of that, the things we know Jay-Z to be. You see that he's taking a step back for what matters most, and that's your family. But yeah, man, I've seen him a few times, man. He always been super real cool, man. Good, cool guy. I got nothing but love for him.
Beyonce, you know Beyonce?
I've known her. Well, I mean, again, I don't know. I mean, I'd be a fool to say if I know her. You know, I know her for sure. Do she know me? I mean, you gotta ask her. I don't know. I'd have seen her before, but no. My god sister, she grew up there. You know, actually, there's three of them. My god sisters. They were like my sisters growing up. I had a small family. It was my mother, my maternal grandparents, and my sister. That's it. No aunts, uncles, cousins, no other distant family, no other brothers and sisters, none of that. My mother remarried my stepfather. He had a sister and a brother that became my aunt and uncle. I have cousins now through that. I have a stepbrother through my stepfather, but growing up, it was a very small family. But my godmother, her family kind of became my semi-family. They kind of, you know, they were a huge family. There was a bunch of sisters in that family. My godmother, she had a bunch of sisters and brothers. So, you know, they're my aunts, you know, that's my uncles. You know, this is my cousins, my grandparents, you know, even though there's my god grandparents. So one of my godmother, her twin sister, was the mother of Latavia Roberson from Destiny's Child. So growing up, this is like my cousin. It was my god cousin, but growing up, it was my cousin. You know, Christmas, we're there. Birthdays, we're there. You know, even though at that time Destiny's Child still took off, even at such a young, early age. But you know, I don't know if Beyonce remembers me from that. You know, I still got Beyonce autograph when I got it when I was 13, you know what I'm saying? I still got it on my wall to this day. But I don't know if she remember me from that, or does she just know who I am from being Paul Wall from Houston, the guy with Grillz, or whatever she knows me as. Oh, that's the guy, whatever. Yeah. But when it comes to Beyonce though, it's just like, I ain't gonna be walking up, Beyonce, what's up? It's me. You know me, it's Paul Wall. You know, it's gonna be she walk, hey, Your Highness, hey, Your Honor, Your Royal Highness, how you doing? You know, kind of. And so, but there have been other times I've seen Beyonce. I can tell you another one that is my favorite time I ever seeing her at the Grammys. I've been a trustee with the Grammys for a long time. When you're a trustee, you get floor seats. So, yeah, I actually just termed out as being a trustee, but being a trustee, you get floor seats. So you on the floor, and usually like I'm like on the aisle of the floor. Now I'm not on the floor sitting next to, you know, Taylor Swift and Beyonce, but when they walk into the front, you know, or whatever, people walking right past me. So I'm seeing all kind of people. So Miguel performing at the Grammys, Miguel's performance started right next to my seat. Me and Miguel was homeboys. So I seen him, I'm like, oh, what's up? I'm talking to him. And he's like, yeah, I'm about to perform. And I'm like, oh, right now? And then like 10 seconds later, he's performing, walking on stage like, oh, but it started right next to him in my house. So there's always people coming and going and walking and coming and going. Man, going to the Grammys one year, whatever year it was, you know, the Grammys to me be a blur because all the Grammys are always spectacular. But the one where Jay-Z and Beyonce opened the Grammys up with Drunken Love. This is how the Grammys show opened, them doing Drunken Love. It was an iconic performance. Me and my wife late. Now, we arguably was only going to the Grammys to see that performance. You know, that's who we want to see. Beyonce and Jay-Z, that's who we want to see. So, you know, even though I'm a trustee and, you know, we there to celebrate all of that, and there's great performances the whole night, the one we want to see, the one we super hyped excited about is that Beyonce Drunk in Love with Jay-Z. So my wife, she, you know, she's not as punctual as me. So I'm on time. And I'm knowing, hey, we got to be there. The doors close at 4:30. If we not inside the door at 4:30, we not seeing that performance, and we not getting in the doors till 4:45 at the next commercial break. You know what I'm saying? This is how it is. Every Grammys or any award show, this is how it is. They not gonna play it, and it ain't gonna be, oh, Paul Wall, the trustee. They gonna, man, they think they give a f. The people doing the award show are not the trustees. This is security hired. This is people who have no affiliation with the Grammy organization, Recording Academy. This is a hired staff of the Staples Center or the crypto arena now. But at the time, the Staples, you know, they doing their job, which they supposed to do. They're not supposed to let me in because I'm late, because I'm Paul Wall or anybody, you know. So, and I definitely ain't gonna be like, I'm Paul Wall, let me in. Like, man, this the Grammys. Come on, man, we tripping here. I'm not gonna do that. So anyway, I'm telling my wife we got to go. Me and my wife, we running late. My wife is like a perfectionist where she just, no matter how long she take, no matter when she could get started at 1 a.m, 2 weeks before. Some reason that little strand of hair is not gonna sit right when it's time to walk out the door. She can be like, it just ain't sitting right. We gotta stay a little longer. So for whatever reason, we gotta always stay longer no matter how much time we prepare for. So this is one of them times where we get there and I'm just pissed. I'm so upset because we late to see the Grammys. And this is what I wanted to see more than anything at the Grammys, was to see Beyonce and Jay-Z, because it's what are you here to see? This is the person they announced the performers. You know, this person's performing, that person's performing. Jay-Z and Beyonce are going to open, because that's part of how they get you to tune in. Beyonce and Jay-Z are opening the show. The Grammys is starting now, the 50 whatever Grammy Awards. And it's Beyonce and Jay-Z doing Drunken Love. They're going to open the show with Drunken Love. They want you to tune in. They don't want you to tune in 5 minutes late. They want you to tune in to see the whole thing. So we there, we show up, we late, we can't get in the doors. I'm fucking hot. I'm so pissed at my wife. I'm talking about pissed. Man, I'm ready to walk out the door right then and go to the airport and leave and be like, all right, I'll see you back at home in Houston. I'm so hot. And just because we couldn't get there on time because we missed the performance. We missed the Drunken Love performance. And my wife is like, something's wrong with my hair. And I'm like, who cares? We're sitting in the audience like nobody's looking at your hair. We're looking at Beyonce's hair. Nobody's looking at your hair. We're all looking at her hair. Like, what are you talking about? You know, we're in the audience. Nobody cares about us. Like, even if we're in the front or even if we're on the floor or any of that, we're still in the audience. It's about who's on the stage. We're there to celebrate them. We're there to be a part and see that. It's not about us. I mean, I get it. You want to look good, but she's just like, I gotta go. This is like her routine. No matter how soon we start, she's still gonna somehow end up where we're not on time. And no matter what we do when we get there, she's gonna have to go to the bathroom. So we go through all of this, walk down the whole aisles from the crypto center, we was Staples Center at the time, walk all the way down to all the floors to get to the floor, get to the floor seat. And then you get to the floor, then you go through here, and you walk through all these people, you finally get to your seat, you're there. And she's like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom. What? You mean you ain't want to go to the bathroom? We was right by the bathroom and nobody was in line. What are you talking about? Well, I don't know. I feel like my hair is not sitting right. I got to go try to fix my hair. And I'm like, man, you tripping. I'm pissed because I'm like, man, I brought you all here. I didn't bring you here to go to the bathroom and fix your hair. Yeah, I ain't bring you here so we can be late. I brought you here so we can see Beyonce and Jay-Z do Drunken Love and we can hold hands and be lovey-dovey. That's why I brought you here. So she leave to go to the bathroom to fix her hair. She leave to do it. And we already missed the performance of Drunken Love. So I'm just sitting there. Somebody else is performing. I don't know who it was, but somebody else, the next performance, they're performing on stage. My wife left to go to the bathroom. So I'm sitting there on the aisle and Beyonce just got done performing Drunken Love. I see her walking with Julius, security. I see her walking in the aisle. Now, keep in mind, it's dark. There's a performance going on stage. We're the audience, so all the lights are turned off. It's dark. It's quiet. We can't say shit because we're watching, I don't know, Pink or somebody perform. You know what I'm saying? And they're performing, and it's a spectacular performance, and everybody's looking at them. So we're all looking at them because the spotlight's on them. We're not even seeing Beyonce walk by. But aha, I've been to the Grammys. I know how it go. That's when you catch the people, is when somebody's performing on stage. That's when you're going to see Burna Boy walk to his spot. That's when you're going to see Taylor Swift come sit down. That's when Beyonce going to walk, because that's when no one's paying attention. They can sneak in without all the fanfare and everybody screaming and everybody, oh, let me take a picture. Oh, whatever, Beyonce, whatever. Because even, I mean, you talking about me. We from the same city, me and Beyonce. She might know who I am, but there definitely was people in there, she knew who they were. And you think every single one of them didn't want to come talk to her? Hell yeah, they all want to come talk to her. So she got to talk to her. Yeah, she got a meet and greet at the Grammys of 1,000 people waiting in line to greet your Royal Highness, you know what I'm saying? Which indeed is as they should, you know, but it's just how I go. So but I know this is when you catch the people, when they walk into, when the new performance is going on, that's when you see. So I'm just sitting there looking, man, what do I see? I don't see anything because I'm looking at the stage, but I feel some radiant energy walking by, like they're moving the 10 Commandments in the Ark or something. You know what I'm saying? Like they're moving so I feel something like it's a nuclear power plant being something going by. You feel this energy. I'm looking. And I look, I said, oh man, that's Beyonce. I said, what's up, H-Town, what it do? And just, you know, just for asking her, what's up, H-Town, what it do? And she just walked by casually. I'm just, oh, hey, how you doing? Walk by. And then so I'm sitting down in my spot like, man, I saw Beyonce. And she said, what's up? She waved at me and smiled. I see Beyonce. Wait till my wife gets back from her bathroom break. But I'm not done with the story. I'm just sitting there just on cloud nine watching Pink or whoever performing. They were doing a great job too. No disrespect. They had an incredible performance too. But I'm just sitting there watching whoever performing like, man, yeah, I got to interact with the queen. I got to say what's up. She said what's up back to me. And then all of a sudden I felt on my shoulder, like, I don't want to sound blasphemous, but it felt like the hand of God. Like you feel something on your shoulder, and it wasn't just somebody tapping you on the shoulder. Like somebody, hey, you in my seat. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you. Hey, Paul, how about the Astros? It ain't one of them. Hey, how your mom doing? Hey, man, you know, because all of those are different. You know, when someone, it ain't the, hey, how you doing? You better watch how you talk about me online. It ain't one, you know, these are all different shoulder pats that have different feels. It was the touch of God where I feel something that's like, what is this feeling? What is going on? Matter of fact, I don't know if you know this painting. It's a painting. I don't know if Leonardo da Vinci, one of them did it. Michelangelo, is where the guy is touching like this and God is touching down like this. And it's like we're man and God. That's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. Where like this is so close, they almost touching. But if you get too close to the sun, you're gonna get burned up. That's what it was. So it's like, I feel something. What is this feeling? And I look behind me and it's Beyonce coming to speak. And I'm like, oh, she came to say she really came to say what's up? So man, she like, hey, how you doing? How your family doing? Whatever, was this and that and left. And okay, yeah, man, when my wife came back from her bathroom, to this day, she think I'm making this story up. To this day, she thinks I'm making this story up. But man, I'm talking about, I went from being the maddest I ever been. Like, imagine you catch your girl cheating on you or something. You just mad, you pissed, and to the happiest I ever been. You know, this isn't the happiest I ever been. The happiest I ever been is definitely something involving my kids or my wife or my mom or something like that, probably for sure. But that's the feeling where you just overcome with joy and excitement. And it's like, I ain't mad, I don't care. You know, that's when it's everything is meant to be. Where we meant to show up right on time for this to happen. And that's why I tell her, yeah, it was meant to be. You wasn't meant to be. You was meant to go in that bathroom because you had to fix your hair. You should have been here with me. I tried to tell you, thought I was hating on your hair, but you could have met Beyonce too. You could have hollered at Beyonce too. But no, you had to fix your hair. It's all good. So when my wife came back and I'm telling her this story, she think I'm lying. But all the people around me, which are like other fellow trustees and their husbands and wives or guests, you know, they're like, and they're all like, damn, Paul, you know Beyonce? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I mean, of course I know who she is, but she don't know who I am. I don't know. I can't call her if I need something, you know what I'm saying? Or yes, me and Johnny made grills for her before, or there's been other occasions where we interacted, but I mean, to say, you know, Beyonce is a hell of a, you know, you better stand on that if you're gonna say it. And I don't know if I can stand on that. I'm gonna have to sit on and creep on it. I can't stand 10 toes solid down. I don't know if I know Beyonce, man. I wish I did. You know, I know her. I don't know if she know me. You know what I'm saying? But that's how all the other trustees, my friends, they was all like, hey, man, you know Beyonce? And I was like, you know, we from Houston, you know, whatever. But no, it was definitely very very momentous occasion that my wife still think I'm making up, but I love that. I love that Beyonce interaction. There's been a few others here and there, but you know what I'm saying, they're all very memorable, very special. You know, she brings that joy. You know, if you meet her, she's gonna bring that joy where you're not gonna forget that joy you felt. You know, it's like when can I think to when I was, you know, happy. Oh, that time with Beyonce. You know what I'm saying?
Jill Scott. I know you said that was one of your favorite collabs, right? And you also made a comment about how you blew it the first time you could have collabed with her.
Me and Jill Scott, man, I can't even remember how I met her. She's somebody I met through a friend. I can't exactly remember who it was, but man, thank you, whoever that was. She's somebody who's connected to the universe on another level, man. She's such a powerful person to meet. And I don't mean like she's the CEO or the boss. She's that kind of powerful too. I just mean like she commands that type of energy and that power with everything she says, does, her thoughts, her words. It's man, she's very intentional with her life on this earth. Is man, she was here for a reason. So man, thank you for whoever introduced us. But she reached out to me one time when I was on tour, when my album came out, you know, when I was busy, when I was almost too busy to do Grillz, almost too busy. We found a way to make it work, but I was busy. So that's when it was. And I was on tour, and it was the Honda Civic tour. I was on tour with Fall Out Boy. It was a big tour. We was on a big old tour. And Plus 44, Cobra Starship, I don't know, but it was a non-rap tour, but it was a big tour. But I'm on this tour. I'm on a tour bus. She says that she has a song she wants me to get on. Now, also keep in mind, this is not 2025. You're talking about 2005. You know, so there's not like to record on your phone is possible now. And it will sound quality. The engineer, as long as the engineer knows what he's doing, he can have it sounding just as crisp as if I was in a $1 million studio. Or maybe not just, but in the same realm. You know, but back in those days, it was a little different. You know, the mobile studios on the buses and all of that, they weren't ideal. There weren't that many of them. And if there was, they either was an arm and a leg to use, or the quality wasn't really all there. Or you also had to pay all these high-end engineers to have a special driver to drive the bus, all kind of special insurance for it. So it's like, man, all that. Anyway, I'm on tour on a tour bus. Jill Scott sends me a song to jump on. I do it on my little studio, which is, yeah, it work if you're doing a freestyle. If I'm doing a freestyle on somebody else's beat, and then we're going to slow down the tempo and screw it down, chop it up later, like, yeah, it worked. But if you're recording for Jill Scott, who's somebody who's an operatic singer, she's like, her singing ability is unmatched. Her vocal ability can't nobody match her. So it's they ain't gonna put my vocals where I recorded it on the microphone, holding it with a t-shirt over it like I did Still Tippin'. They're not gonna do that for a Jill Scott song. And that's kind of what I gave her. So she asked me to get on the song. I did the song. I just did a verse, sent it back to her, and she was very delicate, but she was like, man, it's just something about it. This ain't it. It don't sound right. It don't sound right. And I was like, all right, well, she was like, well, can you try it again? I said, yeah, I'll try it again. And I go lay it again at a different bus studio, you know, something like that. Or maybe I recorded it in my hotel room instead of the bus this time. And she still was like, I don't know. It's not, I got a vision for how I want it to sound, and it just don't sound like that. And I'm like, I'm just grateful I had the opportunity to even try with Jill Scott. I'm just happy for that. But, you know, it was like a disappointment, because it's like, damn, I could have been on Jill Scott album. My aunties listen to Jill Scott. My mama listened to Jill Scott. You know, like that would have, my pastor wife listened to Jill Scott. That'd have been big for me personally. Like, huge for my career, but big for me personally as well. So it was like, damn, man, but what could have been? You know, we always were friends after that. You know, we were friends before that. So, you know, I moved out to LA for 2 years, actually, while I was working on an album. She lived not too far. So we, you know, her and my wife were friends. We were friends, we family friends. So we see each other all the time here and there. One time, she reached out to me out the blue, was like, what you doing? And I happened to be in the studio with Kurt Cobain at the time, recording a verse for his mixtape that he did, his initial first mixtape he dropped. And it was in LA. We were out there. He was my boy Joey IE was like, I signed this new artist out of Houston. His name's Kirk O'Banks. Man, would you come to the studio? Maybe come give him some advice, chop up game with him a little bit, maybe do a song. Hell yeah, I'll do that. Joey IE is the one who signed me to Asylum, to Warner Brothers Atlantic. So, you know, he mentored me a lot. He's the one who introduced me to Fat Joe, the one who introduced me to Dipset, the one who introduced me to DJ Khaled, a lot of people. You know, a lot of opportunities that came my way because of Joey IE just introducing me to people. You know, so I felt like, damn, you doing it. Hell yeah, I'm gonna come. You got an artist, your new artist. This is like the same thing you did for me with Dipset, but now I'm the Dipset and Kirk O'Banks is the power wall. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'll come do that. And we over there in the studio, we do it. When we done, me and Joey IE, we just chopping up game, we just chilling. And he's like, what you got going on? And all of a sudden my phone ring and it's Jill Scott. And she's like, and he's like, damn, Jill Scott calling? You know Jill Scott? I didn't even know you even knew her. And I'm like, yeah, that's my girl. Of course I know Jill. Everybody know Jill. But and so I talked to her and she like, hey, all right, look, I'm over here in the studio. Are you busy? Man, I got writer's block. Can you come over here and help me out with something? I got an idea, but I need your help. And I don't know what she got going on. She said she got writer's block. So I don't know. I'm a good wordsmith. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe she want to bounce ideas off of me or me. Not like I'm gonna write a song for her or something like that, but maybe she just wanted some inspiration. Maybe I thought she was gonna ask me what I'm listening to. What are you listening to these days? What artists you like? Or what songs of mine do you like? Or some shit like that. Like I didn't think she was gonna ask me about anything that had to do with, you know, creating music like together. So then I get there and she's like, man, I got this song. It need a verse. Man, would you be? And she almost like hesitant to ask me. And like, well, is there any way you could do it? Man, what do you mean? Of course, you Jill Scott. Of course, I'm gonna do anything you ask or tell. I'm gonna do what you tell me to do. Ain't no ask, whatever you tell me. So I'm like, hell yeah. But that's just how she is, man. She's just such a humongous amount of energy and positivity that, you know, that's just how she is. And she's like, all right, well, whatever. She tell me about the song, and in my mind, it's Jill Scott. Somebody who's, you know, got a vocal range out of this world. Somebody who sounds and is amazing. She is amazing. You know, she also isn't vulgar at all. Or for the most part, I know the earlier Jill Scott, she wasn't very vulgar at all. You know, it's let's take a walk. You know, songs like that. You know, all the songs where they were the neo soul wasn't vulgar at all. Any of the neo soul music back then wasn't vulgar. It wasn't. If it was sexual, it was all innuendo, encoded talk. It wasn't like, you know, I'm gonna fuck you and this and that, you know, all that kind of language. So she asking me to get on the song. I'm like, all right, I'll do a verse, but the verse is very clean. The song isn't clean. The song is how you hear the song, but my verse is clean. Like it was as if I did a Kid's Bop or a clean version for the song. Or she was like, hey, I got the song, but write a verse like the pastor wrote it. You know, that's how I did my verse, where I was like, I wasn't talking about nothing sexual on there because I was scared to. I didn't know how to. And she was like, man, you know, the song, your verse is cool, but I'm going to dick you down. I'm going to pull your hair. I want you to f the shit out of me on your verse. And I want you to say stuff like that. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, I don't know. Because it just got, I ain't never heard nobody rap on I never heard that language on a Jill Scott song. So I'm like, man, I don't know, man. The neo soul community might whoop my ass if I'm on here talking like that. You know what I'm saying? My mama might whoop my ass. My auntie, they gonna jump me if they hear me on a Jill Scott. My pastor wife might slap the shit out of me. She hear me talking vulgar on a Jill Scott song. So I'm like, man, what? She's like, yeah, I want you to do. So I go in there, I change the verse a little bit. You know, I say the line she say, whatever she say, and I put it in the verse. And then she's like, okay, that's getting there, but you're being too sweet and nice with me. I want you to like the shit out of me on the verse. Like she's talking to me like that. And I'm like, all right, I want you to say, you gonna hit me with that diamond. That's what that diamond chip dick do. You know, actually that was like the last thing she told me, but she kept telling me like lines she wanted me to say which is the line. Jill Scott wrote my whole verse for the most part. She wrote my verse. She told me what to say. It basically was like a slot machine of words. And she would say, all right, you know, cherry, dollar sign, cherry. And I'd go in there and be like, cherry, dollar sign, cherry. And she'd be like, nah, that ain't it. Cherry, cherry, dollar sign. And I'd say, cherry, cherry, dollar sign. And she'd like, nah, that ain't it. Say cherry, cherry, cherry. Then I go in there and say cherry, cherry, cherry. And yeah, that's it. That's how I got moved. So she basically wrote my whole verse, you know, and the last thing she said was, I want you to say, it might sound crazy, but I want you to say, that's what a diamond chip dick do. And I was like, all right, the power that sound perfect. It sounded like it would match because the diamond chip dick. All right, that sound like it would be what's up. And later on, she told me that the song was inspired by real life events. You know, she was in a sexual relationship with somebody where it was just sexual, but she couldn't leave. And they had like they had her wrapped around them and it's under a spell, and just because their dick gang was so strong that she couldn't leave. She knew they were bad for her. She knew they weren't the one for her, but she just can't say no to her mind's telling her no, but her body's saying yes, and she just can't say no. So it was so that's why she wanted me to be this character which is an actual person. Now it all makes sense now because later on I found out I got some homeboys in jail that have told me some stories about in jail, something they do to their dick, where they get a domino or a diamond, an actual diamond. That's what a diamond chip dick is. I'm about to tell you, but they don't always get diamonds. Sometimes they'll get a domino. They'll file it down to a small little shard, or not even a piece of gravel will look like, but it's a domino. But actually shard is the wrong word, because shard is like it's gonna point you and poke you, but it's like a little piece of pebble of a rock. And they would do some shit where they cut off the tip of their dick just so much, then they put the little domino or the diamond in there and sew it back, and it would heal up, and your dick got a little tough spot on it that when you fucking it hit the clit or the girl in a certain area where they go fucking nuts. And anybody I know who've done this, and it's at least a handful, at least 5 people I know who've done this before, they swear to God by anybody it's like next level them fucking. And some of them are like, man, I ain't got no big dick. This is like not to get like perfect, but they'll tell you, like, the people who have this, they will tell you shit that you don't want to know. I'm telling you, they're so proud. Like how I got the weight loss surgery, and I see people, I'm like proud. Hey, oh yeah, let me tell you all about it. I'll let you know all about it. The people who had this surgery, they'll tell you stuff that's a little private. It's like, man, I don't know if you should tell me that, but they'll tell you, man, I ain't even got no big dick, this and that. Well, man, they go fucking crazy. It's because of the diamond chip. It's the diamond chip dick in there. So all of this makes sense to me. When Jill Scott say that on the song, it make me think, well, damn. Did he go to the penitentiary and he put a diamond in the dick and he got the diamond chip? Because she the one told me to say that. I didn't say that. They wasn't my brain that came up with them words. She the one that said, hey, you should say this. How does this sound? You should say this. That's what a diamond chip dick do. I'll say, yo, I'm going to say whatever you want me to say. You say that's what a Pokemon dick do. That's what I'm going to say. You know what I'm saying? So, but it all makes sense that, you know, this person who was putting the sex game so strong on her like that, they had the actual diamond chip dick that I said in the song. But I don't have a diamond chip dick. It's just I got a diamond grill, but I don't got nothing. I don't got no jewelry for my private parts at all.
And you had that same situation with Ghostface Killer, right?
Yeah, bro. That's my 2 biggest hip hop regrets is missing out on the first Jill Scott song. But the universe gave me a do-over. You know what I'm saying? She gave me a second at bat with the So Gone song I got to be on with her, which was big shout out to Jill. But man, Ghostface Killer reached out to me to get on his album. And it's one of them things where it's like, hey, you know, because when you're doing albums like that, you're working on them to the last minute. You know, there's songs I recorded for my albums that was literally the day before I had to turn the album in, we recorded that song, and then that ends up being the single for the album. I'm Throwed was like that. My whole album was done. I was halfway done with my next album. We only went to the studio with Jermaine Dupri to do I'm Throwed because the plan was this was going to be a song for the next album. It wasn't even for the album it was on. It was supposed to be for the next album. But the label was like, nope, Jermaine Dupri, nope, that's a single. I mean, they were right. His star power is next to none. You know what I'm saying? He's the man. So to have a Jermaine Dupri song where he's on the hook and in the video and made the beat, all of that, like they were absolutely right. They made the right call, but I didn't understand that. To me, it was like my album's done. I'm working on the next album. So you working up until you turn in the album and it's getting pressed up. You working to the last minute. So it'll be like that where it's like, you know what, take this artist off because they acting like a bitch. Sometimes it'll be like that. You get somebody on a song and that motherfucker is acting funny as hell. They think they all this and that, or they think they don't stink, or they being disrespectful, or they disrespecting one of your friends, or they doing something that you don't want to be associated with. You know, I got a song with this person, now all of a sudden they talking shit about Pimp C or something. Well, I don't want to put them on my album. They talking shit about Pimp C. Maybe not. They might be talking about Pimp C on another song, but still, you know, or on a blog or something. They talk about Pimp. Well, I don't want to put you on my album if you talking shit about my homeboy. So people get took off songs all the time. So then you got to fill it in with something. So I don't know what his situation was, but Ghostface Killer hit me up, said, man, I'm working on my album. I got a slide. I got a verse. You down to do a verse? And I'm like, hell yeah. I grew up loving wu-tang. So hell yeah. Well, man, what? But it was, man, I'm going, you know, I might have been going to, you know, this city A, B, C, D, E for 4 days, and he got to turn his album in tomorrow. So it's like, when he called me, I literally was on a plane. I was on a plane in my seat, in my airplane with my seatbelt on the airplane. Like we hadn't taken off, we were just about to take off. And he calling me or texting me to get on the song. And it's like, damn, man, you don't know how much I wish I could, but I'm on a plane. I can't get off, and I'm on a plane to go to a show. And one thing about me is I don't never backtrack on my commitment, big or small, and no matter who you are. If a bigger opportunity come, I don't say no to my smaller opportunity that I'm committed to. If I commit to something, I'm committed to it, I'm gonna do it. And if something else come along and it's a conflict of time or something, then it just so be it, that's what it is. I can't do the other opportunity. I gotta do what I said I was gonna do first. I gotta be a man of my word. It's just how I was raised. So it's like, I can't just get off the plane. I'm going to do a summer jam radio show for some radio station or some whatever. I don't know where I was going. Whatever I was going, it was something I absolutely couldn't have backtracked on. And it was like, I got till tomorrow to do this verse, and it was like, I'm about to be on a plane for 5 hours and do a show, and then do an interview and a morning show and an after party, and I gotta do this. Like, it's physically not possible, and I missed out. But yeah, I'm not having closed all hope on that door. You know, Ghostface Killer, maybe he gonna do another album. I don't know. That was at a time when, you know, I was in my prime. So Paul Wall verse back in those days, you know, was something special. I don't know if it's as special as it is now. You know, I ain't on no major label, all that. So I don't know if he knocking down, I don't know if he gonna be knocking at my door for a verse, but if he do, I'm ready and waiting. If the big homie Ghostface want me on something, I can't, man. That's my biggest hip hop regret, is not doing a song with Ghostface Killer. And I don't know what I could have done to change that. You know, if there was a way I could have did it, maybe, you know, I didn't record in other cities. I recorded in my studio. So maybe I was going to, I don't know, say I was going to Detroit. There's studios in Detroit. Maybe I could have found a studio in Detroit and just made it work, instead of saying, nah, I can't do it till I get back home. Well, I don't know, but I'm just, my man, I appreciate the thought that he even considered me. You know, even if I'd have sent him a verse and he would have took it off, I would appreciate the thought. I wouldn't even be mad at that. I still appreciate he gave me a chance. He gave me a chance. It's my fault if I come whack. That's on me. That ain't on him. But man, just for him to consider me and think about me, man. Big ups to Ghostface Killer.
And you credit Cam and Dipset for your fan base in New York, right? They played a big part in that?
Yeah. Cameron and Dipset, man. Jewels, Jim Jones, everybody, man. They co-signed me like a mug, boy. You know, I ain't really have like a lot of hip hop co-signs in terms of being signed to an artist or this, or, you know, those type of things. But, you know, in New York, it's so much, man. Look, we talking about at a time when Dipset, man, had New York in a chokehold, man. Dipset ran New York basically. So man, they were so huge, so big. So for them to take me under their wing, mentor me, show me the game in New York, show me how it worked, you know, how everything goes, and to do songs and music with them, do shows with them, bring me out at Hot 97 Summer Jam, all those type of things, man, they gave me some big looks, hell of a love. I mean, we talk about this to this day, how Cameron, we walking through the club with Cameron, and everybody, of course, everybody's saying what's up to Cameron. But then they see me behind them, they say, oh, what's up, Paul Wall? Oh, Cameron, oh, what's up, Paul Wall? Oh, Cameron, oh, what's up, Paul Wall? Cameron walking right through the club, going to the VIP. Even though they like, Cameron, 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 Cameron. Me, they like, Paul Wall, Paul Wall. Everybody that says Paul Wall, I'm stopping talking to him. And Cameron is laughing, looking back, laughing. And he come back and get me and say, hey, Paul, we got to get your brush off game up. You got to get your brush off game up. You got to learn how to brush people off. You can't stop and talk to every single person for an hour. We trying to get to look at all these people. You can't talk to every, he's absolutely right. You can't talk to every single, if we do, we're not gonna have no time to do the show. It's the security risk, all of this too, you know, cause some people, they ain't there to talk to you. They there to rob you and act like they there to talk to you. You know what I'm saying? So he was giving me some advice that was very valuable, but we still use that line to this day all the time. My boy Goose say, hey, Paul Wall, you gotta get your brush out game up. Come on. What Cameron tell you? When I'm taking too long at a show or somewhere and I'm stopping and taking every picture, talking to every single person, we still reference that. Like, or my wife, I tell her that all the time because my wife is a talker. So you talk to my wife, she's not leaving till you end the conversation. Even if she has to go, you have to end the conversation. And because, you know, she's like, oh, I gotta go. I go, oh, where you going? Oh, I'm going here. And then she's gonna talk to you for 30 minutes about where she's going. Oh, I gotta go. I'm late. Oh, you're late? What time did you have to be there? Oh, I had to be there at 5. And then it's, you know, goes into all the distraction. Like my wife gets distracted easily when it comes to conversations. But I tell her all the time, what Cameron say? Baby, get your brush off game up. You gotta brush them off. We can't talk to everybody. Some people you gotta brush off. You don't mean be disrespectful in any way. That don't mean you don't see them and hear them and feel them and talk to them, but you also don't, you can't leave it to them to where it's at their disclosure when you get to leave. They get to say when the conversation's over, like, unless it's that conversation, but you know, you putting yourself, if every single person in the world can just walk up to you and talk to you, and that's how you're going to distract your whole day, that's dangerous. You know, that's very dangerous. I don't mean physically dangerous. I mean just like that's a dangerous way to live your life. You're not going to be able to enjoy the opportunities and plans and things that you have coming your way if you just distracted by any random person. That means if a homeless person is random and they talk to you, I talk to homeless people all the time. I know the homeless people's names. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I am. But at the same time, it's a, hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing? When I walk into the car, it's not a, you know, sometimes I do have maybe a conversation with them or how you doing this and that, but every conversation with every person every time isn't like that. And Cameron gave me some of the best advice. Get your brush off game up.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I had no idea about that, man. So they really played a part in building your fan base in New York.
For sure. And at the time, man, Jim Jones, he owned the club. It was called, I think, Club Scissor, something like that. And because he had the drink as well, the Scissor, but he had a club called that. And so we'd be at the club, all this, and we see him, I don't know if all of Dipset was coming down here, but Jim Jones used to come to Houston on the regular. That's why Jim Jones is in the Sitting Sideways video. A lot of people don't realize that he's in the Sitting Sideways video.
He was on the bike.
Right, on the bike. And he just happened to be in Houston. He didn't come down for the video, or he wasn't down there for nothing Paul Wall affiliated or related. He was just showing me love. Just showing me love. Big shout out to the homie, the big homie. All the big homies, Dipset, they all my big homies.
Shout out to Dipset, man. Slump Thug, I had no idea. You knew him before he became famous? And you made a comment about how he was that dude before he became famous?
Man, oh yeah, Slim Thug been Slim Thug since high school. As long as Slim Thug has always been the boss. I don't know if there's ever a time when Slim Thug wasn't, Slim Thug, the most popular, the biggest boss, the flyest clothes, everything, the swag, his attitude, his confidence, everything, his whole demeanor, everything. He always been the boss. Definitely in high school, he for sure was the man. Had that green Cadillac with the bull hog, the boss hog. I said bull hog. He had the boss hog Cadillac with the bull horns on the front. Hell yeah, Slim Thug, he always been the man. He the one who had the Bentley when, we down there still in high school when he got a Bentley, or he the one with the first person you see. Well, you see an actual Ferrari. He didn't go rent it. He bought it. That's his. A Lamborghini. This is his. The first Porsche, all of that, boy, Slim Thug always been the leader of our generation in Houston. Whether some people might not want to admit it or not for competition reasons, which is good, good for them to, Slim Thug motivate the out of me, just not just for the material things that he's accomplished and got over the years, but just for his dedication, his hard work, his showing it, quit making excuses up, find a way, find a reason to get it. For him saying, man, God gave me this. God could give you this too if you dedicate yourself too. Man, Slim Thug is a hell of a motivator. There's been times where I'd have fell on my ass, flat on my ass, where I don't know what to do. I'm depressed, music wise. I don't. My verse is not sounding right, or it ain't coming together. I don't know what the hell to do. And who's the one that's right there? When my major deal was over, when my deal was when the Swisher House was no longer a record label, when they stopped putting out music, because there was a time when that now at this point, Swisher House no longer puts out music. That's my label. I no longer have a record label now. I'm no longer on a major deal, nothing. I got to do it all myself. I got to backtrack, even though we always knew we were going to go back to independent. That was kind of always the plan. That was like, okay, this is what we're going to ride this wave as long as we can, but the wave is just to get us back to the beach. The beach is being independent. You know what I'm saying? So eventually we knew we was always going to be independent, but, when it happened, it's like, all right, what do I do? You think, okay, well, I'm going to go back and make music with these people. Well, they're no longer making music. I'm going to, maybe work with this label. Well, it's no longer a label. I'm going to work with this producer. Well, he's no longer producing. I'm going to work with this studio. Well, they don't got a studio. It's owned by somebody else, and I don't know them. They charging me top dollar to rent the studio out, where I can't, so what do you do when you have nowhere to look, nowhere to go, nobody to base, your path of where you want to go off of, So there was my boy, the boss, Slim Thug, who was, hey, man, this is what I'm doing. I'm over here with G-Luck and B-Don. They two producers, their production duo, G-Luck and B-Don, G&B Production. They're still producing for me. My last album I put out before the Tonight Show, they produced a few songs on there. They're producing songs on my next album, but we've known them for a long time. G-Luck, we know his sister, LaToya Luckett. She was in Destiny's Child. So I have that connection with her. Me and her have the same birthday as well. So we have that connection with her. Also, Slim Thug and LaToya Luckett, they used to date, so they have that connection. But B-Don, G-Luck, they were producing. They had their own studio. So one, they're not charging us studio time. Two, they're elite producers for the sound and style we want. They know exactly what we want. So it's like, why not go there? You know what I'm saying? We got this. The Slim Thug showing me the plug. And he told me, man, look, this is what I do. I come here once a week. Once a week I come here, every Monday. And why don't you come on Tuesdays? Monday, all I do is work on one song. I focus on one song. Because those weeks will go by like this, and before you know it, you got no songs. Or before you know it, you got 20 songs. You know what I'm saying? It's 52 weeks in a year. So you do a song every week. That's 52 songs a year. That's a lot of songs. That's more songs than almost all artists are doing. Almost all artists aren't making 52 original songs a year. Not features or this and that. I'm talking about they made 52 songs that are their songs. That's a lot of albums. Especially you talking about albums is, 10, 11 songs now. You talking about 5 albums right there. Artists are not recording, writing, and releasing or making 5 albums a year. You know what I'm saying? So, but this was Slim Thug's, this was his blueprint. He said, man, look, we come over here once a week. Now, he said, look, this Slim Thug talking. Now, I'm gonna use my boss voice. Now, look, Power Wow. Now, he say, look, when I come over to the studio, I might call J-Dog over. I might call Lil Kiki. I might call Big Pokey. I might call Power Wow. I might call whoever to come do a verse on here, do a hook on here. I might call a young artist like Propane. This is, we talking about 2010, 11. So Propane is like just coming out. I might call a Propane to get on here. I might call a, name an artist. It ain't just me. I might call this person to do the hook and I do the verse, and all I gotta do is a verse. And one person does a hook, another person does another verse. But that's the blueprint, where once a week I'm working and they'll make a beat from scratch. I'll write to it, record to it from scratch. Yeah, sometimes I gotta come back tomorrow and lay the verse because it's getting too late. Yeah, I'm almost done, but I gotta go because my mama need this or whatever. So I gotta come back tomorrow to lay a verse. But that's the routine. Man, look, I come Mondays. Why don't you come Tuesdays? Because Slim Thug recognized this too. If any one of us, but especially like me, him, and Slim, me, Slim, and Mike Jones, but any one of us from Houston or from our era, if we crash out or we fall off or we looking weak, then it makes us all look a little weaker. But if we all looking player, we all looking like bosses, we all balling, that makes us all look that much more baller. Like, damn, yeah, they all balling over there. That's how they got it. You know, just like as if it's a group of friends and it's one fine girl, that's cool. But if they all fine, it's like, damn, they all fine. You know, so it's just the same type of thing. So that's how it was. Slim Thug recognized that early on, is that if I Paul Wall fall off, that's gonna affect how people look at Slim Thug. And if I Paul Wall am still going hard, that's gonna also affect how they look at Slim Thug. So Slim Thug, I didn't even know I needed help. He calling me, motivating me. I'm not calling him asking for help. I didn't know I could ask for help. I didn't know how or who to ask for help. You know what I'm saying? But Slim Thug recognizing it, and he just knowing, hey man, look, this is what you got to do. This is what I'm doing. It's working. This is what you need to do. So that's what I started doing. I started coming on Tuesdays, working with G Luck Beat On. Slim Thug is right there with me working too. The first month or so we in there working, he there Monday, I'm there Monday. He there Tuesday, I'm there Tuesday. Even if I'm not recording nothing Monday, I'm still there, soaking up. Even if he not recording nothing Tuesday, he there to make sure I'm good, to make sure, even though I'm like good, we all friends, but to make sure I'm on the right path and I'm still going. Make sure I'm doing my reps. So if he like, hey, I need you to do, 3 sets of this, 3 sets of that, 3 sets of that, 3 sets of this. And then he leave. He there, he ain't leaving. He there to make sure, hey, nah, bring that bar all the way down to your chest. No, you do that push-up, go all the way down there. No, you only cheating yourself if you cheat. You only cheat. That's what he doing to me. He was coaching me, pumping me up, hyping me up, giving me that confidence and motivation to know. And he showed me the blueprint again, like he did when he was a Switch House freestyle rapper. Showed me the blueprint that, that this is how you do it. You put your best foot forward every time you step. You go out there and grind. You show love to the fans. You build with the community beyond just the fans and the music makers, like the clubs or the record store owners or people like that, the restaurant owners. They all play a part into the music industry. So, man, this is all what I learned from, hands-on from my big bro Slim Thug. And he picked me up by my bootstraps. And when I fell off, he failed me right back on. And that got me started, got me going. And I recognized, and I was over there for a long time with G Luck and Beat On until I realized, man, you know what? I need my own compound where I can do my own kind of thing. And that's when it was a group of friends of us where we started doing our thing in Houston. My boy C Stone, D Will, it was a few others, my boy Q, Zavi, it was a bunch of us. They all came different things. One of my boys now, he's a filmmaker. One of them, he was a salesman. He was one of the top grill salesmen forever. One of them, he owns a restaurant club now. But we're all like different walks of the hustle where we come together and we would, that's what we would see like thing. But it all started with Slim Thug just showing me like, okay, this is how you do it. This is what we got to do. And I was like, that's when I knew, okay, I got to have my own compound. I got to have my own setup where I could come here 24 hours a day if I want to, or whatever. But yeah, man, my brother Slim Thug, man, yeah, Slim Thug has always been the boss. He's still the biggest boss.
Shout out to Slim Thug, man. You and Chameleonaire, the beef y'all had. If I'm not mistaken, Pimp C and E40, they was the ones that told y'all to squash y'all beef, right?
Yeah, man. E40 and Pimp C, they were the only two people. There were some people who didn't mention it. Like Bun B was somebody who, like, he would never bring up Chameleonaire around me or bring me up around Chameleonaire. That's like almost disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? But Bun B also had a way of mentoring me and mentoring Chameleonaire and showing me how I need to operate, in the same world as Chameleonaire. So Chameleonaire had to operate in the same world as me without bringing up our situation. But you know what he talking about, but he giving you game. So I had other people, but the people who were direct about it, the only two people that were direct, period, was E40 and Pimp C. And they both was like, what is you doing with Chameleonaire? And me and Chameleonaire both. I'm telling them, oh, Chameleonaire, this, and this. He did this, he said that. Man, I don't give a fuck about that. They both Pimp C and E40. Man, you tripping. That's all they did? You mean he didn't fuck your girl? You mean he didn't like beat up your mama or some shit? He didn't say your mama crack? Oh, you acting like he sold your mama crack. And he telling Chameleonaire, they telling Chameleonaire the same thing. Pimp C and E40 both saying the same thing. They didn't do this together. They didn't know the other person was doing this. It's just E40 from the jump was like, nope, Nope, y'all making a bad decision. Nope. I'm gonna tell you the same way I told XYZ, you know, this group, that group, this group. Nope. You think people care now. When y'all care, the people not gonna care. The people care now. They're not gonna care when y'all care. They care now. If y'all don't put this E40, if y'all don't put this music out now, 5, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they don't care. They're not gonna care. You think we care about when this group and that group break up and they come back together 20 years later? What do we say? Man, they don't sound the same. They sound like old people. They sound like they just doing it for a check. They sound like recovering drug addicts. Like, what do we say about those people? That's what people are going to say about y'all. Nobody's going to care about y'all. Now is when they care. Now. If you don't do it now, this is an opportunity you'll never get again. And it might not be nothing to come from it, but you're not going to be able to get this opportunity ever again. E40 wasn't wrong. Pimp C say, same shit. Man, what is you doing? He ain't your gal? You mean he ain't say your mama crack? Y'all ain't getting a fight and he embarrassed you and you got drunk and he like took some crazy pictures of you? Like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? Man, you better get that money. Y'all, you know how much money you can get together? Y'all two together? You think you get money to get now solo? Imagine how much you get if it's together. You think you think if it's together, you got to split it and I'm only getting 50%. If it's me, I'm going to get 100%. Nah, you tripping. You getting 100% of something less, a smaller pie. This is what Pimp C saying. You know, man, I don't care what y'all be. Y'all better find a way to squash that shit, ignore it, hide it, and get over that shit, you know. And they was both absolutely right. But then when Pimp C put it in the song on Knocking Those Down, you know, Paul Wall and Cooper still ain't talking. Money talk, all that bullshit, keep walking. When he said that, that's when every fan of the Houston rap scene, every Paul Wall Chameleon fan that there was would come up to both of us. Man, how you feel about Pimp C talking about you in the song? Man, how you feel Pimp C said this? How you feel? How you feel? What do you think? How do you feel? All of that kind of shit. It's like, how you think how I feel? I didn't want him to say that. I didn't want nobody to know we had our problems. We were trying to keep it under the radar. But, you know, the fact that he put it on Front Street, he forced us to confront it, to confront the problem, the situation, and he forced us both to take the high road to say, man, this is bigger than whatever we upset about. You know, if we got problems or issues, it's bigger than us. Man, we can't, like, what if Bumpy doing a rodeo and he want to bring me and Chameleon out? You know, he wasn't saying this at the time, but this is like what it is. It's like, you can't come out if we both beefing and having problems. It's like one or the other. So it's, they telling us right there, man, when Pimp C putting in that song, that's when it's front and center. You got to address it. What you going to do? Now, what am I going to, what is my answer to the fans? When people, you know, 50 times a day are coming up to me, asking me, hey, oh, Pimp C, how you feel about Pimp C talking about you in the song? Now I got to answer them. And what am I going to say? It's a, so then what he say on the remix? I heard they talk, but they ain't making music yet, but it's a start though. That's what he said. It's a start. He wasn't lying, you know, but all of this, you know, it's just showing, and I appreciate that he put it in the song, even though I maybe wouldn't have liked it at the time, you know, or I wouldn't have asked for it. But I appreciate he did it because he forced us to resolve our issues, which was, you know, however big they were to either one of us, they were all minor in the grand scope, the grand scheme of things. You know what I'm saying? So it's just another lesson learned that something might be big to you, but it's small in the grand scheme of the universe.
Yeah, y'all cool now. I think he in the tech, right?
Yeah, we definitely cool now, man. We've been cool for a while now, man. He in that tech. I'm like, man, let your boy hold something, man. He making all that tech money, man. He don't never want to let me get in on the investments, man. What's up, man? Let me get on the tech investment now, but he definitely doing good, man. I know he's making music too. Chameleon has always been very particular. You know, each one of us are different in how we view hip hop, how we view the art, how we view the commerce, how we view the industry. We're all different, you know. We share a lot of similarities, but we're all very different. Chameleon is somebody where, man, he works hard for his art, man. He's very creative. He thinks a lot about, he puts a lot of effort into what he's doing. And he's not just trying to just give it away for somebody to listen to for free on Spotify 1 or 2 times and then that's it and you never think about it again. And that's kind of how today's music is released. You know, there's definitely songs that are hits and songs that get on your nerves because you hear them too much. But it's, you know, it's so much oversaturation of music being released that, man, he's very particular. He's always been like that with the labels. You know, he want to do business with the label. He just don't want the label taking 80%. And the labels take like 85%. That's how they used to do. Now, when you self-release and you're the label, you're the 85% and you get a distributor 10, 15%. But even then, Chamillionaire is he's looking at it like, why I gotta give you 15%? Oh, just because that's the way it is. Well, that's not a good answer for me because that's the way it is. And, you know, he questions everything. So, you know what I'm saying? And so, I mean, and this is the way the industry is. But I tell him all the time, man, hey, you don't got to put your shit on DPS, streaming services and all this. You ain't got to put your shit on iTunes for sale. You can put your shit on vinyl only and release it. You can put your shit on CD only. You can put your shit on cassette tape. You can put your shit on flash drives, any of that. You don't have to put it on YouTube. You don't have to put it on any of these things. On Tidal, none of these things. You don't have to. You can choose to put it wherever you want. But if you don't put it on these things, and Joe Blow, who works out at the gym every day and goes to work every day, and he listens to his music only on Spotify, now he's not going to be able to get your music. And this is how people listen to music. They don't buy CDs. They don't make CDs no more. So they don't make CD players no more. So you can't buy a physical copy of something. Only if it's a collector's edition vinyl or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. You can do whatever you want to do. Release it however you want to release it. And, that's kind of how he is doing it now. He's releasing his music how he wants to release it. He's, he's got a website. You got to like subscribe to his website, and there's different levels or tiers of subscription, and whatever you get different aspects of his music. But I mean, I haven't given up on a Power Wall Chamillionaire album again. Maybe we will do another Power Wall Chamillionaire album. I 100% am down and stand by for it. I tell him that all the time, like, because it's not something that I'm like pushing for trying to do, but I do want my intentions clear with him that if you want to do this, I'm 100% down. But it's not like, hey, we need to do. I don't want to like bug him or like make him feel like, oh man, he always trying to get me to do that. I don't want to do that. Cause no, it's not like that. But I do want him to know that I'm 100% down to do it. But he, I tell him all the time, man, we could drop a Power Wall Chamillionaire album, and we only drop it once we get 100,000 pre-sale orders or something like that, where it don't even come out till we get X amount of pre-sales. Because you can, and if we don't get the pre-sale orders, then it never come out, like a Kickstarter or something. But I mean, it just is what it is. You don't have to release music the way everybody else does. It's just that there's all these tools to use, and if you don't use the tool, that's on you. If you don't need the tool, you don't have to use the tool. But it's if you're trying to get people to listen to your music, you want to use every tool available at your expense, at your whatever, you trying to use them tools.
Chunking up the deuce with Little Kiki. I heard you didn't want to do that song at first.
Nah, not Chunk Up the Deuce, but damn near every other song. Chunk Up the Deuce, though, when we first did Chunk Up the Deuce, matter of fact, when we first did Chunk Up the Deuce, it was me. It was a song for Get Money, Stay True. It was me, Lil Kiki, and because Lil Kiki was on the sample as well, and Slim Thug was originally on it. But at the time, it had a Twilight Zone sample. So the Twilight Zone, the TV show is, okay, that's how the beat went for the most part. Okay, we couldn't get the sample cleared. Okay, so he went back, Mr. Lee went back, interpolated it. They still wouldn't clear it. So he went back and took out like every other note and changed it. So it's dum, 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 the dum, 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 dum. But it's no. It's basically the same thing, but it's not the same. But anyway, at the time, that song was supposed to be on Get Money, Stay True. We couldn't get the sample cleared. We couldn't get that whole situation taken care of. Twilight Zone has never cleared any sample ever. So that's what they told us at least, and they wasn't about to clear that for Power Wall. So it's what it is. So we just like, okay, what we gonna do? How we gonna use it? Kiki working on his album too. And still at this time, my only song with Lil Kiki is like Break 'Em Off, which was on Get Money, Stay True. That was my only song, or Sitting Sideways, that Kiki got taken off of, Or there might have been like a song here and there, like a draped up remix or something like that. But like a Paul Wall song with Lil Keke, man, there wasn't one. You know, except for Break 'Em Off, which hadn't came out yet because we still recording. The album hadn't came out yet. Also, he hadn't put me on a song yet. And you talking about my favorite rapper of all time. Favorite rapper of all time. So, man, for me to do any song with Keke, I don't care whose song it is. I don't care how it comes out. I just want a song to come out with me and Lil Keke. You feel me? So like right now, whoever the greatest in hip hop is today, I don't got a song with him. I want a song with him. Yeah. I don't care if it's my song, they song, your song. I don't care whose song it is. I would love to be on a song with, you know, whoever, this person, that person, you know, fill in the blank. So man, that's how it was for me then. But we working on the sample, trying to figure it out. And it's like, okay, we're gonna put it on Keke album. And so then they said they're gonna put on Keke album, which was completely cool with me. So now it's Keke's song, but Slim Thug was on the song. His record label wouldn't clear it. They said, look, we'll clear it for Paul Wall, because Paul Wall, they are still tipping together. They got a history together. It's a little different with Keke though. We're not clearing it for Keke. Keke's not signed to us. We don't owe his label any favors. You know, we're not trying to earn no favors by clearing it. Nah, we're not clearing Slim. Also, Slim Thug, the hottest artist in the country. So it's like, you understand where they're coming from. This is why they did it, because he's their artist. He's the hottest artist in the country. They're not gonna clear him for other Houston artists. Only like a handful they would allow. You know, it's the same reason now why I ain't got no song with Megan Thee Stallion or, you know, some of these other Houston artists that are like elite A-list major label artists, biggest artists in the world. Travis Scott, even though I've been on his album before, you know, or some of these other artists, Maxo Kreese, when they're on major labels, Don Toliver, when they're on a major label, man, look, the only way you get a song with them is if they put you on their album. Man, they not letting you put their artists on your album. Even if you're like a legacy artist who paved the way and did all of this and got all these platinum or whatever, all of that don't mean shit to them. I'm currently not on a major label. If I was currently on a major label, well, then they can play the clearance game where, yeah, I'll clear Megan for you if you clear whoever for whatever, you know, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Cause that's how, you know, that's how, when they clear the artist, when I'm on Ashanti song and they're going to get the clearance for Ashanti, Irv Gotti called me, rest in peace. He called me to do a song for Ashanti. He said, hey, I want you to do a song with Ashanti. How much you gonna charge me? What? How much am I gonna charge you? This Irv Gotti? You talking about Ashanti? Or like you spelling it a different way? It's just somebody else I ain't never heard of. What are you talking about? Ashanti. Man, what? How much am I gonna charge you? What are you talking about? Is that possible? That a Paul Wall can charge Ashanti for a song? That's not even possible. What are you talking about? I'm not gonna charge you. I bet it'd be my honor to do a song with Ashanti. I fucking love Ashanti. So I'll do the song for free. Then when they say, oh, we want to clear the song, well, the people who ran my label used to run Def Jam. Before they ran my label, they were all at Def Jam. Leo Cohen, Julie Greenwald, Craig Cowman, all these people, you know, Mike Kaiser, all of the people from top to bottom. When they left Def Jam, they took the whole staff with them. The promo staff, the radio staff, this staff, that staff, all the staff with them. So, I mean, this time they have certain baggage that comes with that. One of the baggage things was that one of the people on my label, they had some type of issue or situation or something that had nothing to do with me, but it was Def Jam days between them and Irv Gotti, or maybe, I don't even know who it was between. It was between them and somebody affiliated with Irv Gotti. So now they holding it over Irv Gotti's head. Oh, you want to clear Paul Wall? That's cool. Give us $100,000. Man, I did the verse for free. I ain't getting no $100,000. I ain't get a penny of that. I'm like, damn, man, y'all getting 100? Hey, look, I ain't never got $100,000 for a verse from anybody. Y'all getting $100,000? I can't get none of that. Yeah, I can't give me some of that. But I mean, that's the label games. It has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the person you're clearing it from, or the label you're clearing it from, or something. It's just how it goes, you know. So that's just one of them things. But them clearances is something serious, man.
Definitely something serious, man. But before I end this interview, I gotta ask you, the Grillz. You still eating good off of selling the Grillz?
Definitely eating good off of Grillz still. Big shout out to my partner, Johnny Dang. My partner and my partner. He both. That's my dog there. Big shout out to Johnny Dang, man. He took the Grillz to a whole nother level. He got a vision bigger and grander than I could have ever imagined. I mean, I was happy, selling Grillz out of the flea market or something similar. You know what I'm saying? I was happy doing that. I thought we made it. And that is making it to an extent. But Johnny just always had a bigger vision. He always wanted that high-end jewelry store, not, the flea market, you're renting a booth. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you show up with a table. You know what I'm saying? And to go from something similar to that to how the store, $1 million store now, the store worth like $5 million or something crazy, just for, probably more than that, just from the real estate location of where the store is, but even beyond that, man, it's just, a blessing to be able to be in business and do business with somebody for 25 plus years. I've been selling Grillz with Johnny since, 98, 99, so it's been a long time, man. And just to be able to have a partner like that who has a similar vision when it comes to our brand, a similar vision when it comes to peace and happiness. We're not, yes, we work hard. We grind hard. Yes, we want the money. We're going to make sure we get our money. But the money don't make us. The money is just, that's just like a goalpost. That's just something we're trying to strive to achieve to take care of our families and have some of the finer things in life. But the money is not what make us. It's just a motivating factor. The materialistic things, they don't make us. They just motivating factors. Yeah, we want as long as Cadillac make cars, I'm gonna keep grinding. As long as Johnny keep making Grillz, I'm gonna keep getting new Grillz. So that's just one of those things where we just strive, to grind hard, and just having a partner like that where, yes, we're money hungry, but we're not money greedy. We definitely, we want that money, but it's also, you look at the people, Johnny's tough, man. He's a tough boss to work for, man. He's a very tough employer. He expects a lot, the most out of his employees, because he's been through the most. You look at where he came from, the village Johnny came from, where he was born and grew up in Vietnam, no running water, no electricity. I mean, you come to him with a sob story, I don't know if he's gonna be crying like I'm gonna be crying. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be like, yeah, I feel you, man. Let me help you out. Let me help pay your rent. Let me help pay for your mama's funeral or whatever you got going on. But Johnny's like, man, well, you better work hard and get it like I did. You better do this and this. And it's not, Johnny gonna tell you what you need to do. He ain't gonna tell you, he ain't gonna just say, oh, go get a job. He gonna say, hey man, this is what but he expects the most out of his employees. So he's tough, man. And also to this day, he's putting in this much work. Man, he still continues to put in tons of work. He works so hard, so late, so early, doing his thing. And, he knows what it's about. It's bigger than him too. He has the opportunity to employ all type of people. All his family that came from Vietnam, they all, are somehow tied into the jewelry business one way or another, or they opened this door for that, for this or for that. He's the jeweler I know that employs ex-cons. He's a jeweler I know that employs black people and Mexican people. You don't see this at a lot of other jewelry stores. Most of the jewelers aren't black. There are black jewelers out here, salesmen, but black jewelers who are like there's not a lot. There's a few. So, we I gotta show much love to my boy Johnny. The same opportunity he gave me to sell Grillz, he gives that same opportunity to people every day. He's got like 1,000 wholesale clients. And me and him are partners in a lot of the business, but not all the business. But man, the same opportunity he gives me, he gives to so many other people. And I see it when you walk in the store, you see the employees. I hear the testimonials from other people. Some of the people are former employees who he was very hard on, and they ended up getting fired or they quit. And now they're their own, little mini mogul at what they're doing. They're their mini version of a Johnny Dang or Paul Wall, and I'm happy for them too. I salute them too, because I know, and the ones who see the vision, they know, man, none of this would have been possible without Johnny first giving me that opportunity. Yeah, he was hard on me. Yeah, he was tough on me. Yeah, he fired me. But he was right. He was right for why he fired me. He was right for this, right for that. Johnny don't be wrong in his perspective. He tough, he hard, but he don't be wrong, man. He be right in his perspective. He give people second chances. He give people a way out. He gonna be tough. He gonna be stiff. His voice might get a little loud when he fussing at you, but man, you know that's the boss of most jobs you go to. If you're a lawyer and the top lawyer, how you think that top lawyer is talking to the junior lawyers? You know what I'm saying? How you think the head doctor is talking to the junior nurses or whatever? You know what I'm saying? Or whoever does whatever. This is how it is a lot of, not always, but it's very rare you're gonna find, you know, somebody who is a mogul like that, like Johnny has become, and they not stiff. They not tough with their business. So man, big salute, big shout out to Johnny for giving me that opportunity to make money and giving everybody else that same opportunity.
Yes, indeed, man. Shout out to the legendary Johnny Dane, man. But Paul Wall, man, great interview. Sensational, man. Very entertaining. I can't wait for the public to see this, man. Before we end it, man, anything you want to shout out, yeah?
Man, I definitely want to shout out to my YouTube, Get Money TV. We got videos for every song I drop, every album I drop, every song I drop. We're even backtracking, and we're going to start releasing older videos for older songs. You know, like this, the 20-year anniversary of the People's Champ album. I'm releasing a few videos for that. You know, but every song, every album you hear me drop from this point on, there's a video for every single one of those songs, and they right there at Get Money TV. And other than that, man, make sure you check out my new album that came out with DJ Fresh. The Tonight Show is out right now. Big salute to all the grinders, all the hustlers out there.